Today on America's Day at the Races, 3-year-old sprinters are featured from Aqueduct to the Jimmy Winkfield. Life is Great is hoping for a rosier outlook after a poor performance at Odds On in Maryland. Can he return to the form that saw him dominate maidens now that he's back in New York? Morello holds plenty of upside after an impressive maiden win in his debut for North America's all-time winningest trainer as he makes his stakes debut for Steve Asmussen. In the Ruthless for 3-year-old filly, Shotgun Hottie hopes to keep the hot streak alive for the hottest sire on the planet. Can another gun runner make it a sweep of the weekend features from Aqueduct? Misinterpret. She returns to New York after being a beaten favorite in Parks. Will an equipment change help turn her form around for Hall of Fame trainer Todd Pletcher? All that and more coming up on this Sunday edition of America's Day at the Races. It's presented in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Good to have you with us on FS2. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. And we have a couple of stakes today, both sprints and that Jimmy Winkfield coming up almost immediately for the boys. And in that Ruthless edition, should be fun. Both these affairs seem wide open.
I agree. It's hard to look at these races and definitively say, I think this horse is absolutely the one to beat, and especially the Jimmy Winkfield, a race that was originally scheduled for last week and we canceled. There are, I would say, one of the themes of this race are horses trying to get back on track.
That's a fair point. We'll get into this field coming up. 7 furlongs of the Jimmy Winkfield kicks off the pick 6. First of our couple of stakes on this Sunday card. Let's take a look at what's ahead. Presented by Claiborne Farm. Today's action, we'll kick it off with that stake of the Jimmy Winkfield, the Ruthless for 3-year-old fillies. Later this afternoon, it is a track labeled good today in South Ozone Park. Tampa Bay coverage as well. We've just found out they are off the turf today. We'll bring you races 6 through 9 from Oldsmar, Florida, a little later. You can play all the action by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com, download the app, take advantage of that offer. $200 deposit match sign-up bonus with the promo code you see right there, bonus 200, and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. This stakes race, of course, named after a man who nearly pulled off 3 consecutive Kentucky Derby victories. Jimmy Winkfield, who was inducted in the Hall of Fame back in 2004. Morello, right now, the 6-5 favorite off a debut maiden score. Now he's even money. Let's head downstairs for a Paddock report with Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, that's where we'll begin this Paddock report with the outside favored runner only making his second start now in this Jimmy Winkfield. That's Morello. We haven't seen him in a couple months, and I remember that race as there were several first-time starters. Now, the horse that finished second to him, he was not making his first start. He was actually favored that day in Inevitable Connection. He came back to win with the 79 buyer, but the field was mostly comprised of horses making their debuts, where all of them except Morello just had the appearance and the pedigrees to say that they wanted to go a bit further. Where Morello, he looked like the sprinter of the group and he got the job done. He was very professional in running. He was very professional in the preliminaries. Same thing here once again, as we do see Steve Asmussen's main assistant here in New York, Toby Sheets, on his head. Maybe just a little bit more awake though, which I like. I like that, proverbial light bulb to have gone off, and now he knows why he's here. He was a horse that looked as though he should have been quick in that debut. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see actually a little bit more speed from him, but he is fit, he is strong, he's ready to go. But we'll take a look at some other ones in here. Down on the rail, another horse coming off a bit of a layoff is son of the big beast. Beast or Famine, as he comes in off of a narrow defeat last time out in the Lewis Stakes at Laurel, in which he should have gotten the job done. Honestly, the way the race unfolded, the eventual winner was more down towards the rail, which is never where you necessarily want to be at Laurel. And he had the whole stretch to get by him, and he never could just do so. Though, looking at him here in the paddock, and well, I think he probably looks 90% fit. We'll see. He might need the proverbial race. I do like the 7 furlongs. He's actually a horse that has some size to him. He has a nice overreaching walk, nice big kind of stride. So I like his appearance here. The only thing I question slightly is the fitness levels, too, to come back at the 7 furlongs. So I think it's a distance he will eventually like. Now, number 4 is Dance Card, as he possesses the most wins of any horse in here, 3 for 6 lifetime. And he looks great. He honestly looks much the same as when I had seen him over the summertime. There really hasn't been much progression, but he is sharp. Now, 2 starts ago, he completely blew the turn, and his trainer, Juan Vasquez, put a burr on him on the right side, which is a piece of rubber used to keep a horse that wants to lug out a little bit more straight when the rider pulls that inside left rein, Greg.
All right, good information, Maggie. Thank you. We heard the call to post. Here comes our post parade, and here is Beast or Famine, one of several Maggie touched on, 9-2 from the rail.
Maggie and I both fans of his sire, the Big Beast. I think he's kind of interesting. I liked his last race. Now I think he's a player in here.
Hagler speed, he's cutting back, and he's putting blinkers on.
Yeah, this is a make-or-break race for him, and that's what I was talking about, horses seeking redemption. His last couple races have been slow, even with a win.
Back to New York, where Life is Great looked really good, breaking his maiden.
His races 2 and 3 back are good enough to win here. He's got to bounce back from his last race.
Dansko just won a stake at Parks.
This field is tougher, though, than the field he met at Parks.
And this is a lot of money. You and I were talking about it off air. Morello, debut, maiden win, and now start number 2.
I think what you and I were talking about is he has no blemishes. He's 1 for 1. He ran a respectable fig. I don't like the field he beat. The horse who finished second in there, yes, he came back to win, but he rode a strong bias in a subpar field, at least that day, though one of them came back to win here the other day at a big price. I guess when you look at them, you know, you start going through, right? Life is Great. He ran really well 2 back. I think that Life is Great also ran very well 3 back, going too far against, you know, From Another Mother, who's going to be in the Gotham. Mo Donegal, who ran a respectable 3rd in the Holy Bull yesterday and won on Remsen. I don't know, Greg. I prefer Life is Great. I may have been a little harsh about the 5. My price to get in there was Beast or Famine. I know you like him a little, too. I think he had a shot, at least. The 1.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of this barn, too. Penny Pierce, family affair with this barn. Her husband, 2 sons, part of the team. Philip and JD. She says her son Philip does just about everything for the barn, and we'll see if they can get it done here at 5-1. I like that stalking trip he got last start. Jonathan Kinchin joining us now for a race that kicks off the pick 6. Thoughts on the Jimmy Winkfield, JK?
Yeah, look, I ended up leaning with the horse towards the outside, the 5, Murillo. And here's the issue, and this is something that I think maybe back in the day I would have kind of fallen for this, where it's I look at Timeform US, and they code the fractions early in those races, blue for slow and red for fast. And Murillo's early fractions, when he was close to the pace, were coded as blue. Typically, I would just kind of toss the horse. Oh, he was sitting off of a slow pace. He got a slow final time. He didn't run that well. But one of the things that I've learned over time of getting beat by horses like that is that when it's a lightly raced horse, you can't blame them for the situation they found themselves in, and there's an opportunity in which they can, progress out of that performance. I like the fact that he's drawn towards the outside. If he was drawn towards the inside of Life is Great, then sure, maybe I would give Life is Great an opportunity or a shot in here, but I think the outside draw for him, you get Steve Asmussen. The horse did run well enough, did everything right. The figure is too slow, but like I said, I think there's an opportunity for this figure to improve with a horse like this second time out. And so I'm not crazy about the price, but from a pure picking standpoint, I would pick the 5. If you're looking for a horse to kind of lean on in the pick 6 sequence, because the rest of it's pretty tough, this is a horse that maybe I would lean on and hope that maybe the morning line of Life is Great could kind of help you pick up some equity there. This is a tough race for a 5-horse field, but ultimately I'll go with the outside horse, the 5, Murillo.
Rage Against the Machine fans going to be all over this one. Maybe that's that 6-5 money here. Morello, son of the 2-year-old champ, Classic Empire.
Are you insinuating that Jonathan actually picked this horse because he's a Rage Against the Machine fan and he withheld that information? I think
it
that
wouldn't shock me if JK
I think
is.
he didn't give us the real handicapping reason he came up with this horse. We'll have to quiz him later.
I looked at that maiden. I actually thought it was a decent maiden win. I mean, he handled that field
Didn't break.
pretty easily.
Didn't break. It was a slow pace, but he didn't break. I always want to see these maiden breakers come back, but, I may be being a little harsh on them. I prefer the 3, Life is Great in here as my top choice, and I thought the 1 was a possible upsetter. To be honest with you, my big opinion here is, and it doesn't really matter, I didn't like Hagler. Well, he didn't get bet, so there's no advantage to not liking him.
Yeah, 5-2 morning line. He's 9-2 right now for a Rudy Rodriguez runner. When they get ignored, often kind of tells you this story. Dance Code steps in, 6-5 favorite, will be the last in. Morello to the outside. Start number 2. And stakes debut, there he is with Jose Lezcano. Jimmy Winkfield, let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the call.
There in the gate. And they're off in the Jimmy Winkfield Stakes. Life is Great and Hagler. And on the outside is Morello, who is a close-up third. Then it's a break of 2 lengths back to Dance Code, and down at the rail is Beast or Famine up the backstretch. Hagler has now come away with the lead. It's Hagler in front, 3/4 of a length. Life is Great runs in second. Morello in the clear on the outside in third. Beast or Famine moves up now down at the rail. Dance Code is the trailer. Opening quarter, 22 and 3/5 seconds. Hagler leads by 1.5 lengths. Life is Great in second. Beast or Famine now advances up into third. Morello, the favorite on the outside, is in fourth. Now Morello is gaining some ground. Dance Code is the trailer. They race midway around the turn. Here's Life is Great now to take over the lead from Hagler. Life is Great by a head. Hagler down at the rail. Morello's on the outside. And in behind is Beast or Famine. The half was sharp, 45 and 2/5 seconds. They are at the top of the stretch, and here comes Morello now on the outside to take over. Morello is in front. Life is Great back running in second. Hagler is third, then Beast or Famine and Dance Code. Morello has a 2-length lead as they move down for the 16th pole. It's Morello now in front by 3, and Morello comes off his maiden victory to take the Jimmy Winkfield by 4. Life is Great was second. Beast or Famine finished third, and the time was 1 minute, 23 and 1/5 seconds.
Morello now 2 for 2, won his 2-year-old debut. Now he wins his 3-year-old debut.
This is a very promising performance. The track has obviously gotten much quicker than it was yesterday as it's drying out. It was a very honest pace, and he got a good trip, but he was dominant, and I think you can't not like the way he was striding out of the wire. And you have to think, Greg, with the Gotham coming up in 27 days and a mile, he's got to be pointing towards the Gotham, right, to stretch out another furlong. I mean, if he doesn't want to go farther, they could always cut back to the Bayshore on Wood Day, but I'll have to start comparing to other times today. I got to think this is a pretty strong performance by him. Life is Great actually ran his race, and he crushed him.
Well, if he does go to the Gotham, and it's the Jimmy Winkfield, you don't think of it as a pre-Derby prep, but it could be after this performance.
Well, I mean, it used to be at 6 furlongs. So I think that's one of the reasons now it's 7. But I mean, I think I have to imagine it actually works out very well. It would have been 5 weeks ahead. Now it's 4. But that performance, how are you not thinking Gotham? I mean, it fits perfectly for him. And obviously, as you say, if it works out in the Gotham, you're going to the Wood. This is a very good year to have any promising 3-year-olds.
That's a 1-turn mile in the Gotham, and it's 50 points to get into that starting gate for the Kentucky Derby. Maybe Connections Morello thinking that spot next. This was very impressive. 123-1 final time. Wins as the 7-5 favorite. 5-3-1-4. Son of Classic Empire. Perfect so far in 2 starts, and he was very impressive in this performance. Jose Lezcano aboard for Asmussen. We'll be back with the prices and set up the late pick 5 right after this.
Grade 1 winner and track record setter Lee. Like their sire, his runners have excelled on both dirt and turf, including these standout performers.
Leading by 3, Gibberish and Dylan Davis.
Out of a Galileo mare, this dual surface star has sired juvenile stakes winners on both dirt and turf. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races here on FS2. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Morello did things unusually well here in the Jimmy Winkfield. Start number 2, first against Stakes Company. First start of his 3-year-old campaign. And if this is the beginning of the campaign, it's going to be one to watch going forward.
Yeah, and a lot of credit to Toby Sheets, the assistant for Steve Asmussen in New York. You know, while Steve is in Saratoga during the summer, Toby Sheets is the one who holds down the fort almost the whole year in New York, and obviously doing a great job with this horse. And I got to say, this horse was very, very impressive today, winning. I'm looking forward to comparing his times. To be honest, I haven't paid enough attention. I did not look at the time for the 3rd race in a mile, but I got to think this is a pretty strong race.
Pick 5 is next. 1-turn mile, $16,000 claiming group. Will line up. It's the 5 right now. It's all relevant. Rudy Rodriguez, the one to catch and beat, although he's got some speed to his inside.
Yeah, I don't even think he's the fastest horse in the race. I think Big Mountain's going to go. I think Musical America will be in front of him. I mean, It's All Relevant's a very cool horse, a 9-year-old, but how many lives is he going to have? He's coming off another substantial layoff. He's not the speed. He's not even necessarily the 2nd fastest horse early. It makes it sort of logical to like Direct Order on the outside, who seems like the outside closer in a race packed with speed, and maybe he will turn it that way. I think Musical America, who has rated and won in the past, will be the one that I prefer of the forwardly placed horses.
Kenner Carmouche there for Michelle Nevin, 2nd off the claim. Let's go back to that Jimmy Winkfield, though, and that impressive performance from Morello. Maggie has more.
Please be joined here by co-owner Dave Lyon. And Dave, Morello, first of all, how'd you come up with the name? Rage Against the Machine fan?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had this name reserved for about 5 years. I renew it every year. I was waiting for the right horse. This was absolutely the right horse for this name, so we're thrilled.
You picked him up for $250,000 at the Fasig-Tipton sale. Wait, what drew you to him that day?
He was our favorite horse in that sale. He went off as Hip 210, which was great because Hip 211 was the $1.5 million horse, so we feel like we went under the radar. We were way in the back bidding on him, and we had to have him. We were ready to go deeper into the well, but we got him for $250, and he's showing us why. So.
And you've been instantly returned on your investment with this win here, and you have to be pleased with what you saw, 6 to 7 and drawing away. Do you think about Derby Trail?
Well, we do, but we're going to let Toby make all the decisions with Steve. They've done a fantastic job with this horse. We're just here for the fun. We pay the bills, and we let the experts make the decisions on that. But, you know, we're certainly thinking about it. I was watching him gallop off, and that's what I was thinking. So we'll see.
Well, Dave, congratulations. You're always so much fun to have here at the track, especially when you're winning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we know that. Thank you so much, Maggie.
All right, Dave Lyon with Morello, and all smiles here in the winner's circle. This is a horse that looks to have a future, Greg.
He does indeed, and I think every trainer in America watching right now said, I want to train horses for this ownership group.
I love this guy. I'm telling you, I'm rooting for this horse now. I mean, that's what you want to hear. And honestly, first of all, I appreciate him giving the credit to Toby, who is here in New York with the horse, obviously taking care of him. But it's true. Listen, you own a horse, you get involved. But the best owners and the smartest owners and most successful owners are the ones that believe in their trainer. And if they hire a trainer, they let the trainer make the decision. And I think it's great to hear from him. And you can see how excited he was. And he should be. This is a very impressive performance.
And shout out, to Rage Against the Machine guitarist Tom Morello. He's got one named after him, appears to have a very bright future.
Yeah, and you nailed that. You even told that before the show. You look how happy you are.
No, he's been a race fan for a long, long time, and now to have a good one named after you, and that's the dream in this sport, right?
Right. Normally they name one after you, and the horse couldn't beat me in a match race.
We're going to get into this pick 5 when we come back. Stick with us. More ahead here on America's Day at the Races. We'll get you to Tampa. Again, they are off the turf today, and a lot of changes. We'll go through them on the card coming up right after this.
Spun to Run. In the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, he defeated a loaded field that included multiple Grade 1 winners Omaha Beach and Improbable. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more. And he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, Breeders' Cup champion, Spun to Run. standing at Gainesway.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
And on the morning of the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need to create the noblest of all creatures. So God made a racehorse. He needed a horse that is faster, smarter, sleeker, and sounder, so God made a racehorse. He created an animal sound of wind with oversized nostrils to breathe fire like a dragon and turn oxygen into rocket fuel. He gave it a kind eye so his caretaker could look into his soul. And then on the afternoon of the 8th day, God realized that he needed an animal that was even swifter, smarter, and sounder.
An animal that can compete on the world stage and win iconic races like at Royal Ascot.
So God created a legend. The legend lives on at Alapa.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you where you can play all the action. Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com. Download that Naira Bets app to get involved. And we got this right around the corner. Always puts a smile on Andy Serling's face. Opening day at Belmont Park, April 28th. And a fantastic meet is coming our way.
I love all our tracks. You and I have a lot of fun wherever we are.
No, but it's always fun to make that transition and walk into those gates at Belmont, isn't it?
It is, and it's also sort of the gateway to just so much good racing coming up, too. You know, once you get to the spring and you get into April and then you head to Belmont Park, you've got the Triple Crown race to look forward to. And, you know, invariably, opening day or 2 days into Belmont, I run into somebody and they say to me, you must be really excited about Saratoga. And I go, you know, I'm going to enjoy Belmont for a couple of months. And then we'll worry about heading up to Saratoga. Because Belmont's spring meet is a great meet, as you've come to learn being with us here. And so is the fall meet. I mean, listen, once we get turf racing in New York, which will start in 2 months or less in April, the racing is extraordinary here all year long. And Belmont Park's a big part of that.
12 grade ones. Going to be a lot of fun. Third and final leg of that Triple Crown.
Are they all on Belmont Day?
Most of them are, yes. Sensational day that afternoon, but a lot of other good days, too. Father's Day, a day not to miss.
And Father's Day, other than Belmont Stakes Day, is our busiest day.
Yeah.
It's always a great day. And so it's that and the Belmont Stakes, the 2 days I most want the weather to be nice, you know? It's always a fun day.
Fingers crossed. We're going to head to Tampa Bay. Race 6 is coming up next. It starts the pick 4. Again, if you're just tuning in, they are off the turf there, and that's changed the card quite a bit. We're now left with a 5-horse field in this 6th race. Move to the dirt, and it looks like this one right here looks real imposing with the surface switch. This 2 Shaldag with Adamar Santos. We'll be back. Pick 4 next from Tampa.
Run Happy, the #1 second prop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2, program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. Sun shining here at South Ozone Park on this Sunday afternoon, and we're getting set for the start of the late pick 5 sequence, approaching the 11-minute mark to post. Current field and the odds here in the $16,000 claiming one-turn mile.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine this race not having a pretty contested pace. I think we continue to have a track where it's better off being outside, though we have seen some runners towards the inside run at least reasonably well in some races, so maybe it's getting even. But I'll tell you something. It's amazing how good a shape this track is in, Greg. When you consider the amount of rain we've gotten on Thursday and Friday, how cold it got. Yesterday's track, while muddy, it was harrowed, was in good shape. And look at how well it's playing today and fast speeded up.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been a very challenging time for the people who do track maintenance around here. And I know we've had a lot of biases. It's not easy this time of the year. And this is the first weekend, Greg, where we haven't had a cancellation since we came back after the first week. So it's been very challenging. And as usual, they're up to the job.
Yeah, Glenn Kozak and his crew, incredible job they do, maintaining all these NYRA surfaces.
There are 12 of them. There are 2 turf courses and a main track at every track. There is a turf and a dirt course at the Saratoga training track. And there is the Belmont training track, which we use all year long.
And soon to be more.
Right, and so they may add another service at Belmont. And Glenn does this to himself because Glenn's, I think, his greatest wish in life is to be driving a tractor around somewhere. And putting in the new mile chute at Saratoga.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
Very excited about that. That's going to be
a different look to
Very
Saratoga those with the mile races back. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
As we'll take a look at the main 3 players here in the paddock for this race, this 5th race. And really, you have one that's just cutting back in distance and makes a lot of sense, dropping in class on the outside. And then you have 2 big question marks. And one of the question marks is the long layoff and return of number 5. It's all relevant. Now, it is promising that he is protected here. If a horse comes off of a 6-month-plus layoff and returns at the same level that they last ran in, they don't have to run for the claiming tag. So Rudy Rodriguez and his ownership group have opted to protect. It's all relevant. He's a horse that when he shows up, he can be devastatingly good, but sometimes he doesn't show up. There's obviously a lot of issues that have often kept this horse away from the racetrack. But with all that being said, he is 13 for 32 lifetime. He knows how to win. We'll see what kind of trip he pulls. He is fast from the start, but there's some other speed in here too with the horse we'll get to in a moment. But he looks like the same It's All Relevant that I've always seen. He is a bigger, more robust son of Hard Spun. And so you always question how fit he actually is, but he looks fit enough to me. He's got a bit of a longer coat to him, but it's rich, it's hydrated, and he looks like a happy horse. Often with these older horses, it's just sweetening them up, making sure that they're happy and feeling good off the layoff more so than the overall fitness. They can often kind of run these races on muscle memory. We'll see what It's All Relevant does today. As number 4, Musical America, he was a bit of a no-show. It was a disappointing performance off the claim for Michelle Nevin, but the pace did kind of fall apart that day with Hammer and Hammer and 235 rallying Mexican Wonder Boy part of it and running well, but Musical America really did not show up. So we see this precipitous drop from the 40 to the 16 here. I like what I'm seeing from this guy. He is the best upon appearance here in the paddock, but I've thought that about him a lot recently, and he has just not been running quite to what we saw maybe over the summer. So when that starts to happen, sometimes I shy away. But then again, at this level, he has to be used. But we'll see. Again, he's a horse with that early speed. We'll see if he gets loose here with the presence of It's All Relevant to his outside, and probably capitalizing on all that is number 7, Direct Order. 1 1/8 is just too far for him. 1 turn mile, this is his gig. He isn't built like a horse. He's honestly built more like a sprinter. When he first began his career, I always said, why are they going long with this horse? But yet he would be winning at these 1 turn mile races. He looks great here for Eddie Barker, and another horse that gets a little bit of a class relief back to the level that Eddie picked him up for. But I really like what I'm seeing from him, and this is just the right kind of setup for him today, Greg.
2-1 favorite, Maggie, thanks. You see 112,000 and growing in that pick 5 pool. Manny Franco will be aboard.
The problem with direct order is he's what we call moto, master of the obvious. And I picked him second, and I'm not saying he's not going to win, but isn't it just so obvious? Big Mountain's the fastest speed. He's going to lead. Musical America and It's All Relevant are second and third fastest, assuming they all break. In all likelihood, they'll set up that way. So you could argue Musical America, who has won rating before, It's All Relevant, who's won rating but is best on the front end, as most speed types are both compromised. Well, Big Mountain's not good enough, so direct order will just pounce and just run by them. If only the game were that easy, we'd all be rich.
Well, I mean, that's one of the big questions in this. There's several questions, obviously, but a 9-year-old, and you touched on it, coming off this layoff from March of last year, can he still do it? If he can return to what he was doing when he went to the bench,
he'll win. He'll stalk and win.
It's not even close.
And he's outside the other speeds, and he will stalk and win.
A lot of reasons to believe that's not the case. Back at Tampa, that 2-horse
cinch,
with this one coming off the grass, looks really hard to beat.
If this was a scheduled dirt race and the 5 horses that are running were the only ones entered, I believe the 2 would be 2-5 in this race. And I think Greg kind of agrees with me. This is an off-the-turf race. I don't advocate 6-5 shots, where this horse is a massive overlay at 6-5.
Adamar Santos on board. Jason Beam with the call to kick off this pick 4 from Oldsmar, Florida.
Be the final pair. Receiver Antonio Gallardo going in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Sheldog from the inside set for early speed. Bodie Cody close up from the second spot. Feisty Kitten Deceiver. And Rose for a Saint at the back as the 5 of them run toward that first turn. And Sheldog clearing off here. 4-5 favorite Sheldog past the 7/8 pole, opening up by 2. Bodie Cody into the second spot. Up on the outside, Deceiver is third. Feisty Kitten down toward the inside. Rose for a Saint still in between horses at the back. And 5 lengths front to back as they have 6 furlongs left to go. They got to reel in the favorite Sheldog. Sheldog takes him to the back stretch in front by about 3. Bodie Cody is second. Deceiver up on the outside. And in between horses, Rose for a Saint now out of last. The back spot relegated to a Feisty Kitten. 23-4 for that opening quarter mile. And a Sheldog with 4.5 furlongs left to go leads it still that 3-length margin. In the second spot is Bodie Cody. Deceiver up on the outside of Rose for a Saint. It's now 5 lengths more back to Feisty Kitten, who's 10 lengths behind the favorite Sheldog. Sheldog and Adamar Santos to the far turn in front by 3.5 now. Bodie Cody, Deceiver up on the outside. Now into third. Rose for a Saint down toward the inside, trying to save ground from fourth. Still 7 or 8 more, then back to Feisty Kitten, who drops out a distant last. 48 flat for the opening half mile. They wind around the far turn. Sheldog still there. The lead is now 3. Pushed along from the inside, Bodie Cody. Deceiver also given the cue on the outside. 7 or 8 more, then back to Rose for a Saint, and Feisty Kitten is along last as they turn for the top of the stretch. Sheldog corners a little bit wide, but still in front now by 4.5 lengths. Deceiver, Bodie Cody going up and down from the second spot. They still got about 4.5 to make up. Inside the final furlong, it's Sheldog well clear. Sheldog and Adamar Santos past the 16th pole, 5 in front. Deceiver, Bodie Cody, they're having a little bit of a battle for second. Deceiver's in front of a neck for that spot. But first is wrapped up. Sheldog won it by 10. Second, Deceiver. Third, Bodie Cody. Fourth was Rose for a Saint. And fifth, Feisty Kitten.
Sheldog ended this race pretty early on when he got to the front, a few steps out of the gate.
You know, Jonathan never saw a blinking light if he didn't jump on it. He might have just gotten 4-5 for all his money. He might have just got 80% back of his cash.
Never an anxious moment.
This was ridiculous. I mean, anybody that looked at this race and objectively looked at the dirt race of the horse in this race is not surprised this horse won by 10 lengths.
The rest of this group, very limited ability on dirt. And Sheldog takes advantage. Back to New York. Post-parade here coming up in a moment for this start of this late pick 5. Again, $16,000 claiming group, 1-turn mile. And still 2-1 favoritism outside on direct order. Manny Franco will be aboard. Manny Franco, see if he could take advantage of what could be sitting behind in the perfect spot in this race. We expect the 3 to be in front, but the 4 and 5 probably going to be sitting right behind that one, maybe trying to press as well. Here's American Lincoln for Jesus Romero.
Another horse that when he runs as good races has speed. So that's probably not a particularly good situation for a horse on the rail, who will be spending the whole race in the rail probably.
3 the hard way, just claimed.
I mean, realistically, he's one of the closers in the race, right? But he is coming out of a very weak field.
Yeah, and he's stepping up in class. This was a tough spot. Big Mountain, he's quick.
He's supposed to be the speed of the speed.
Even Harkey will be aboard, and he does usually not disappoint when horses have speed, putting him in front.
He goes.
Musical America, Kendrick Carmouche.
I like this horse in here. I feel like he's the right one of the speeds, and he looks bad. Michelle Nev has great numbers on big drop downs. We'll talk about the post.
It's all relevant. Used to be a horse who could hit 100 on the Beyer figures.
Amazing, this 9-year-old. We'll see what he comes back with. If he comes back in his game, as you said, he could just be too good for these.
Binkster used to be a pretty good horse. He's not close to what he was a year or two ago.
No, he's just completely lost his form. And the problem is when he's in good form, he's a speed, which wouldn't help him here anyway.
And 9 to 5 now, direct order outside.
Yeah, I mean, he's the moto, closer in the race pack with speed. I thought he was lousy last time. It was a speed track. But the thing is, Regal Quality and particularly Dark Scorm outclosed him. But in this spot, he makes a lot of sense. I can't argue with that.
Play the favorite, or we try and beat him here, JK. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I'm going to try to beat the favorite on the odds right now. It's the morning line favorite. I think the 5, It's All Relevant, is live in here. And look, this is a race where I thought was extremely tough. If any of these horses wins, I won't be surprised. But they all kind of have a negative feel to them. And even when you're trying to make a case for horses at a price, you want to feel a little bit better about how that goes. The One American Lincoln, I wanted to try to make a case for, but I just started feeling icky. And basically, I'm going to lean on the 5, It's All Relevant, for a couple of reasons. One, this horse back in March of 2021 was entered for $16,000. The ownership and Rudy Rodriguez thought that was where this horse needed to run, and they were prepared to lose the horse for $16,000. The horse wins that day, and then they give the horse almost a year off. It's an expensive thing to do for a horse that's a $16,000 claimer. You got to think that maybe they thought there was still something there with It's All Relevant. And if you look at the work tab, the horse has been working consistently. December 16th, the 23rd, January 3rd, the 9th. And you look through there. So with an older horse in the claiming ranks, you like to think this horse seems like he's probably pretty sound right now. And basically, to me, it's Rudy and them daring you to take this horse for 16 that you haven't seen for all this time. So I'm going to end up leaning on the 5, It's All Relevant, and my fingers are crossed that Maggie's not going to tell me that I'm stupid.
I would never do that, Jonathan, ever. I don't think you're silly. I just can't quite work out how this horse works out the right kind of trip. And he can win, but I don't know. I just don't have the most positive feelings about him coming back off the bench. As we'll check in with number 1 American Lincoln, who JK was talking about trying to make a case for. Look, this horse, shows up every now and again with an effort that does make him a major player here. And he's a horse that always presents himself well prior to his races. But today, I really like the way that Sammy Camacho Jr. warmed him up today. Just really kind of aggressive, and he was floating over the track quite nicely. We'll see what he does, though, from that inside post position. But I'm going to be the chalk-eating weasel in this spot. I couldn't get over direct order and the way the race projects to set up for him. He just has done everything right so far in the preliminaries to boot. So, yes, Greg, I will be the one taking direct order today.
9 to 5 favorite from that outside slot. We'll see if it sets up well for him here, this 6-year-old by New Year's Day, looking for his 10th win.
I played the pick 5, if people care what I played. I used the 4 and 7 here. I used the 3 and 5 in the 6th race. I used all of 5, 6, 7, 8 in the 7th race. I used the 6 and 7 in the 8th, and I used the 6 and 7 in the 9th.
Too deep in the Ruthless.
I'm going to tell you, I may be wrong. I'm certainly wrong in many races, more than I'm right on. I picked the race 6, 7, and then I left it blank after that, and I had to do a lot of work to come up with 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I put Champagne Poetry 3rd because she did beat the bias last time out, but the rest of them, they're going to have to beat me.
Good luck in this sequence. Not an easy one. You see that pool closing in on $250,000. As there's the speedster. Big Mountain should be leading the way here, and did win it a mile 2 starts back. Gate to wire. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the call.
Waiting now for Binkster and direct order. They're in the gate for race 5. And they're off. It's all relevant. Out for the early lead. On the outside is Binkster, Musical America. And now moving up is Big Mountain. So It's All Relevant is challenged by Big Mountain on the inside. A length and a half back to Musical America running in third. A gap of 4 lengths now to Binkster in fourth. Followed on the inside by 3 The Hard Way. Then it's Direct Order and American Lincoln as the field heads up the backstretch. It's All Relevant steps away here to lead by 2.5 lengths. Ran the opening quarter in 22 and 1/5 seconds. It's All Relevant now by 3.5 lengths. Big Mountain is in second by a length and a half, with Musical America next in third, then a gap of 5 to American Lincoln, who is down at the rail. Moving up a spot is 3 The Hard Way. On the outside is a Binkster. Farther back it is Direct Order. It's All Relevant has a 5-length lead after a half in 44 and 3/5 seconds. It's All Relevant by 6. Musical America and Binkster, they are right together, second and third. 3 The Hard Way down at the rail. Direct Order on the outside. 3/4, 109 and 4. They're in the stretch. It's All Relevant leads by 4.5 lengths. Then Musical America, Direct Order on the outside. Direct Order taking aim at It's All Relevant. It's All Relevant by 2. Direct Order continues to gain. Direct Order now takes the lead in deep stretch. And it will be Direct Order coming from off the pace to win over It's All Relevant and Binkster.
Wow, did It's All Relevant try and throw it down in this race off a near year's layoff. 44 and change for the half?
We call that bottoming out the field. I'm going to take a chance and say that's the fastest half mile we have seen and will see for a 1-mile race here at Aqueduct for the entire 6 months we're here, including the Cigar Mile. The track is sped up a little bit, there's no doubt about it, and that final time at 37:29 is pretty strong. My gosh, I mean, you know, the 3 is fast, and he went after him, and this horse just, Big Mountain briefly had the lead. This horse just like zoomed away. You said to me, what happened to Big Mountain Speed? I said, well, they just went 22 and 1. I mean, Direct Order got the money, and congrats to Manny, of course, and the connections, but the 9-year-old coming off the layoff. I mean, It's All Relevant. Unbelievable.
Real early fractions this horse set. Yeah, off an 11-month layoff as a 9-year-old, and not a surprise. He flattened out here, sets it up for Direct Order to come get him.
It's like a wind-up toy. I mean, he's amazing, this horse.
Do you like this horse second off the bench?
I don't know. I'm a little worried. I mean, his next race might be in a long time, but listen, credit to the winner, but let's be realistic here. It's All Relevant, and I'm glad he lost for my bet, but It's All Relevant feels like the hero coming out of that race, doesn't he, Greg?
Yeah, he held on for second, too.
Easily.
7-5, 6-1, yeah, convincingly. That was fun to watch him do his thing and try and just take it to this field under the apprentice, Jose Gomez, but in the end, Manny Franco, Direct Order, and Eddie Barker team up for the victory as the 8-5 favorite to start off this late pick 5. Prices when we come back. And we'll set up the pick 4 when we return right after this on America's Day at the Races.
Precocity.
Strategic speed. Some speed at 2, but can carry it on through their later careers.
Improbable, full of run.
Improbable, now a Grade 1 winner. It is a complete runaway, an authoritative run.
It's Improbable to win the Whitney.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. days of live racing and the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Harris Farms, proudly standing Smiling Tiger, a triple Grade 1 winner, defeating Breeders' Cup champions Dancing in Silks and Amazombie, a leading California sire with over $9.7 million in progeny earnings, with 94 winners in 2021 and graded stakes superstars like Spice Perfection.
Spice Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
And Tiger Dad. Smiling Tiger, a leading California sire, standing at Harris Farms. It pays to be Cal-bred.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you in part by the champion sprinter Run Happy. Never lost in his career while sprinting, did it all while racing medication-free. Direct order, he got an insane pace to chase up front, set by It's All Relevant, the 9-year-old off an 11-month layoff. He eventually runs him down, but It's All Relevant did hang on for second. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Here with winning trainer Eddie Barker, discussing winter fashion. But Eddie, it's always warm when you're in the winner's circle, and direct order, you had to be licking your chops when they drew this race, given the amount of speed that you saw.
That's what I was looking for. Yep. I mean, you know, he's a one-run horse, and if he gets the pace in front of him, he'll run. And he's a very honest horse. He really is, and he's been training great. So. You know.
He looked it, and this is his level. You did lose him today, but you're looking to go back-to-back. You have Bastet in the next race, too. Now, she was hustled to the lead last time, and she draws the rail. She goes from outside to in. What's going to be the game plan with her?
Well, I'm going to tell him to play the break. I wanted to go into Never Win 3 for 35. It didn't go, so this was the next logical place. Not logical, but it's a tough race, but she'll run good. She's an honest horse.
She is.
I think we're more of a match, but who knows, you know.
Well, we saw you unveil a really promising 2-year-old New York bred this past year in Shipsational, as he is a multiple stakes winner, but you're going to put him on the Derby trail. You just told me during the break that you took him down to Tampa. Sam F. Davis next Saturday.
Yep. We took him down in December with 4 other horses. And I have my assistant down there, Joe Falcone. He gets on the horses, and, you know, the horse is training super. I mean, he's got to step up off of New York breds, but he's really impressive. That's all I can tell you.
From what we've seen from him, he was impressive in those stakes wins.
He's gained about 100 pounds. He's grown about 2 inches, and he's got the mind of a 10-year-old. You know, he's just his special horse.
Well, Eddie, hopefully he is. Hopefully you won't have to worry about wearing too many clothes down there this next Saturday. Best of luck. Congrats here, though, with direct order.
Thank you very much, Maggie. Thank you.
Always great to catch up with Eddie Barker. And Greg, it was nice to hear that Shipsational, he will be heading to that Sam F. Davis, which we'll have on the show next week.
All right, we look forward to that as we continue on that Triple Crown trail. Direct order, $5.30 for, again, the 10th win of his career. Manny Franco aboard for that victory, 7-5-6 finish.
Sometimes it feels like an easy game, just very rarely.
Late pick 5, formful beginning with a long way to go.
I'm alive.
I think we
I
can
got this one home.
I think we can do better than that early pick 5. Paid just over $100.
Not bad, actually, when you consider the prices of the horses in there. Actually, not a bad payoff.
Pick 4 is next. We'll set that up when we return. And we'll take a look at some impressive performances from Saturday. Early voting. Grade 3 Withers win. Shot out of the gate like a cannon and never looked back under Jose Ortiz. And how about White Barrio for Safi Joseph? very impressive in his 3-year-old debut in Florida. We'll be back.
Catholic Boy, one of only 3 American 3-year-old colts in history to win Grade 1s on both dirt and turf, including the immortal Secretariat. A 6-time graded stakes winner from ages 2 to 4, he was the fastest 3-year-old of his crop over 10 furlongs. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales rate. Dual surface Grade 1 winner Catholic Boy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back at America's Day at the races on FS2. And we get set for the late pick 4 coming up here at South Ozone Park. Just a few steps away from JFK. And this first leg of the pick 4 sequence, 6 furlong sprint, first allowance condition. And right now my Roxy girl favored, an 11-time winner. Violent Vixen though on the outside, going to try and make it 3 in a row for Charlie Baker. For true fans of New York racing, Aqueduct holds a special place in their hearts. It's seen a lot of history since it's opened its doors back in September of 1894, and it has gone through a lot of change. Through it all, year in and year out, it produces some of the best autumn and winter racing in the country. Here's a brief history of New York City's racetrack. Aqueduct is the only racetrack within the confines of the 5 boroughs of New York City and faced intense competition from several other tracks located in the vicinity. True to its nature, the racetrack not only survived, but thrived. Aqueduct underwent an extensive 3-year overhaul and reopened on September 15, 1959, to much fanfare, as it was one of the most modern facilities of its kind. In 1960, Aqueduct presented its first Wood Memorial. The race is New York's premier prep race for the Triple Crown and remains one of the track's signature events, along with the Cigar Mile Handicap and Remsen Stakes. Aqueduct was the first and only track to have a triple dead heat win in a stakes race when Brownie, Bousset, and Wait a Bit hit the wire in tandem. In 1965, it was the site of the largest crowd ever to witness a thoroughbred race at that time in the Empire State, when more than 73,000 packed the stands to see Gunbow in the Metropolitan Mile. The legendary Cigar began his famous 16-race win streak at Aqueduct. He scored impressively in the 1994 Naira Mile as part of that win streak. The race was named in Cigar's honor after he retired in 1997. The last racetrack Secretariat placed his hooves upon was Aqueduct. He was retired there before commencing his stud career at Claiborne Farm. Aqueduct was the second track to host the Breeders' Cup in 1985 and was one of the first sporting venues where Pope John Paul II held Mass in 1995. Incredible history at this racetrack, affectionately known as the Big A. And that is a lot of years to make a lot of memories.
Oh, I have so many great memories of Aqueduct going back. You know, coming here with my grandmother, the first time we ever went, we used to take the Aqueduct Special together, was Thanksgiving of 1974, that weekend, that Saturday we came. But I saw Bold Forbes the next spring with her. So many trips when I was a kid to Belmont and Aqueduct with my grandmother, but went to Aqueduct many times before Belmont, taking the old Aqueduct Special out here. And I feel lucky to have been around for that time, but I've spent so many days at Aqueduct, and I love the idea of getting off the subway at a racetrack.
It is a great, and just walk right across the street. And you said there was a special token to get on the Aqueduct subway?
Yeah, there was the big Aqueduct Special. People remember the old subway tokens, the size of a quarter-ish. And then they had a big token, like a silver dollar for the Aqueduct Special. And for those that may remember it, if you get on the subway stop, you had the right or the left. You could go with a small token to the left to get the A train coming through. But for the special Aqueduct Specials, which left at certain times, you had to use the big token, which I think was around $1 or $1.25 back then.
It happens to both of us, too. It's still fun getting on that A train, and you see players coming out to the track, and they'll ask you your opinions on who you like on the car of the afternoon.
Yeah, it's great.
Little community on the train.
It's great. The subway taking the train, you know, the only place I've been to, there are others in America, but Auteuil, the jump track in Paris, is right off the metro.
Pick 4 next. This, again, a look at the field. Violent Vixen, can she make it 3 in a row for Charlie Baker?
I'm going to bet against her. I believe that she's had very fortunate trips, and I just think that both My Roxy Girl and Louise and Time may be better than she is, but obviously she's in good form, and Charlie's such an exceptional trainer.
Meanwhile, Ruby's in Time, 9-5, morning line favorite. There she is. Rudy Rodriguez, second off the claim. She won first off the claim for that barn back on January 8th here.
Yeah. She's a horse that used to have a lot of speed, but she's shown the ability to rate. I thought she got a pretty good trip last time, but got it done. Now, My Roxy Girl, and you see those numbers, that's Rudy's second off a claim off a win. And I like to look at this number because a lot of trainers, like Rudy, they have great numbers off the claim. But then you look, did they crank them up off the claim? Well, in Rudy's case, they come back and run well in their next start. Overall, at all distances, he's 15 for 57 with a positive ROI, so they come back and run well. I do like My Roxy Girl to maybe beat her. She was a little unlucky when she lost to her in this race, as we'll see. She gets kind of blocked down on the inside a little bit, and I thought My Roxy Girl just kind of got the wrong trip last time. It is My Roxy Girl's third race, though, in just, 17 or, a month or so. And, there has been time off for Ruby's and Time, if you believe in those things.
Yeah, it can catch up to you. Right now, Ruby's in Time, 9-2. My Roxy Girl, 5-2. It's got to be coming down at a 3, no?
The 3 is the favorite in doubles over the 7, slight favorite, and the 5 is the third choice. She's got to come down from there. Big overlay right now, isn't she?
She really is. Jorge Vargas Jr. will ride her in a moment. 6-year-old mare, 5 for 11. She has done her best work certainly here at Aqueduct as we take a look at My Roxy Girl. And as you mentioned, she will be putting in quite a bit of work here in the last few weeks.
She's an amazing horse. I mean, you look at her record, right? 36 out of 55 starts, she's hit the board. I mean, 2/3 of the time she hits the board, and she sort of spreads them between first and second, third. She's had a great career.
$680,000 in earnings for the 5, My Roxy Girl. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, she has done it the hard way, as we say, as far as her career earnings are concerned. But first, let's talk about a horse trying the dirt, actually, for the first time. That's number 2, Kept Waiting in here, a daughter of Broken Vow. And there is dirt pedigree on the bottom side of her pedigree, in which the dam did win dirt sprinting. No other siblings have done any running whatsoever other than her, so you can't really go off them. But the second dam was a multiple stakes winner, actually sprinting on the dirt. Now, she kind of had an abbreviated campaign last year, and so maybe Connections thought, well, because we missed the majority of turf season, let's see, since I'm sure she's probably doing well and she looks it here, let's see if she can run on the dirt. Now, looking at her, she is a little bit more turf inclined, but not totally up against it, to be quite honest. But the one thing that's actually really different from this time relative to all her other starts, she's really quiet today. I don't know why. It's cold. Usually horses react a bit fresher when the there's a wind between their tail. But that's just one thing I've noticed. So we'll see. There's a lot of question marks for her to answer for, though, a very hot barn in Rob Falcone. Now, number 5, yes, she commands respect. My Roxy girl against the track a bit last time. Looks great, as she typically does here, second off the claim for Linda Rice. I think she's just very, very logical in this spot. I, too, though, would like for her to wake up a little bit. Sometimes she is a bit more fresh acting than what she is here today, but often we'll see that once she gets out on the racetrack, Greg.
7-year-old mare trying to notch the 12th victory on her resume. The 5, My Roxy Girl, 5-2 second choice right now.
I thought we should throw in the 2 and talk about a horse who right now is the only one taking money besides the aforementioned 3 horses, and that's Kept Waiting. She's trying the dirt for the first time. You leave them here in the winter. She's a New York bred. They're not going to ship her down to Florida to give her a try. Her dam actually handled the dirt, and her second dam was good in the dirt, but this dam has produced 2 horses that could not stand up in the dirt. Not my kind of horse, Greg. But her turf form is good. I mean, she's obviously got ability, but it's more in the turf.
Biding her time, perhaps, until that turf racing begins again. Let's go to Jonathan for more.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing that Andy did with Kept Waiting. And her turf form is good. And if this race was being run on the grass, she could win. Would I be shocked if she won here? No, but it's not really a proposition I'm going to cut in line to wager on. I thought the 3 Rubies in Time made sense in here. After switching to Rudy's Barn, ran well last time. Kind of got back to some of that old form from a speed figure standpoint. Was close up to a pace that was very quick. First off a break. You got to think the horse is going to probably be a little bit more fit this time. And you saw Rudy's idea in the last race, with It's All Relevant being aggressive and sending away here. I'd like to see Rubies in Time ridden the same way here. Aggressive, go out to the front end and see if you can't kind of take it to them. Obviously, you have some speed to the outside in Violent Vixen, but from the inside, what are you going to do, rate and take back? So I'm going to go with the 3 in full disclosure with the pick 6 that I played that luckily is still breathing at the moment. I used 2, 3, 5, and 7. But from a pick standpoint, I'll go with the 3, Rubies in Time, wire to wire.
All right, JK, good luck in that ticket that moves on to leg 2. Rubies in Time just leaving your screen there.
Leg 3, pick 6. He's really redboarding. He's coming up after 2 legs.
Oh, excuse me, yeah, pick 4 beginning here. There's the 9-5 favorite, Violent Vixen. What do you in terms of pace? Who do you think?
Isn't Bastet supposed to go from the rail?
I agree.
I mean, she's quick, and it's not like you can imagine her winning this race by rating. And from the inside, I think Trevor has no choice. Because if he doesn't go, he'll get crushed down on the inside, whereas by going, at least he can provide some separation, hopefully drift a bit. But Violent Vixen's going to be outside of her. Violent Vixen has come around. There's no doubt about it. But when you start taking it apart, she didn't beat a very strong field 2 back, and last time out, she just got loose on a gigantic speed track, and I think that really sort of dressed her performance up. I am scared that she'll knock me out of the pick 5. I'm not, if I was going to add probably 1 horse in any of the races, I probably would have added her. I didn't want to bet that much money. I just sort of wanted action during our show, and I can't bet short-priced horses whose past performances are better looking than they actually should be, at least in my opinion. And you take My Roxy Girl. She doesn't look as good as she should. Yes, she ran that 78 Beyer 2 back, but 70 Beyer last time. Well, that was a strange race on a day you wanted to be inside, and I don't blame Jose Ortiz, but he ended up getting sort of shuffled out early in a race that seemed to be developing up front. The pace didn't end up being that fast, but it did kind of collapse. She made an early 3-wide move on a day the rail was good, and the winner made the last move right up the rail. So it just was the wrong trip. So I look at her and I say, well, she got a 70 Beyer when things worked out poorly for her. The 7 got an 81 Beyer when things worked out perfectly for her. The 7's a much shorter price than the 5. In my opinion, based on trips, the 5 is a much better bet.
Back we go to Tampa, 10,000 claimers, 7/8 of a mile. And in this race, the 7 Loud and Proud looks incredibly imposing, but a couple of question marks. Can she get the 7 for a long distance? Looks like she's going to be in front.
It's amazing she's never gone 7, but on the other hand, she's run at Prairie Meadows and Hawthorne for much of her career, where you can't run 7 furlongs. But as the controlling speed, theoretically, 7 furlongs is an advantage for her because she sets a slower pace. 6 furlongs, the paces almost end up faster. I think you could make a case, I thought, for the 1 or 3, but Greg, I think she's an overlay at 9-5, and I don't think you disagree.
No, I'm with you, and we'll see. Here's Jason Beam, 7th from Tampa Bay.
Goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. It's time for Berhanu out wide. Moon Launch is right there in the early going. Professional, part of the front vanguard, as is Roland Dude. As they go through that opening furlong, it is Berhanu from the outside gate to the front. Loud and Proud now up to second as Roland Dude taps on the brakes there in third. Rivadale is moving through in the green colors toward the inside from fourth. Then we come back to Prepare for Glory. Professional. Moon Launch broke sharply but settles back in seventh, and it's 2.5 more back to Black VK, who's at the back early on. Berhanu up the back stretch in front. It's Berhanu there by a length and a half. Loud and Proud in the second position. Down toward the inside of Rivadale comes through to be third, 3 lengths off the speed. Then we come back to Professional. We have one being pulled up out of the race here. Number 1, Rivadale being pulled up out of the race. Number 1 is being pulled up. So they're back to the front here. They go to the far turn. 3/8 of a mile left to go. Berhanu still there by a length to Loud and Proud, who's trying to inch closer from that second spot. 2.5 more lengths, then back to Professional. Roland Dude pushed along from fourth. On the outside, Moon Launch starting to gather a little bit of momentum, is up fifth and about 5.5 behind. They wind around to the quarter pole. Loud and Proud up alongside of Berhanu. These two face up to the top of the lane. Loud and Proud now ahead in front. Berhanu back to second. 3.5 more then. Back to Professional, who's third. Trying to rally up Roland Dude. Moon Launch down the outside. Final furlong left to go. Loud and Proud the leader, but a game Berhanu down toward the inside is not done with. Loud and Proud past the 16th pole. Then comes Berhanu. Late run from Roland Dude trying to get going as Moon Launch. It's Loud and Proud still there. Loud and Proud looking for the wire. Loud and Proud to find it. Moon Launch closed up to get second. Third looked like Berhanu, but it was a photo there with Roland Dude and Professional for third, fourth, and fifth.
Loud and Proud had to do a little work here to get by this 8. It was pretty stubborn in the stretch, and Loud and Proud didn't get to the front.
No, I think it's the usual, oh, he's got to get 7 furlongs, let's rate him. So they allowed the 8 to get a little brave up front and struggled to get by him. I wouldn't say he won like a heavy favorite should.
No.
But he got the job done.
Indeed, he did. Back to New York.
She did. Oh, no, he did. Excuse me. He did.
Post-parade, we start off with Bastet. Speed inside, Trevor McCarthy.
Eddie Barker looking to get a training double, this one with Trevor.
Kept waiting, coming a 5-length win on the turf.
No, they kept you waiting for her to run on the dirt. You get your chance today.
Debut coming up on the dirt. Ruby's in time at 5-2.
Love seeing those Jimmy Riccio Silks out there, who's been a successful owner in the game for a long time. Not many horses these days.
Fight on Lucy, 6-year-old mare.
I always root for horses named with my mother's name in them.
Trained by Pat Kelly. 3-1, My Roxy Girl.
I think she's very, very logical in here, and it makes a lot of sense as the third choice is bettable.
Biggest price on the board, this one here. She's not bluffing.
Well, there is a reason. She's coming from Mahoning Valley.
Well, last win shows up at Finger Lakes at 5.5 furlongs.
She's making a tour. She's like on the dead tour here. She went to Mahoning.
She was at Saratoga last summer. Violent
everywhere.
Vixen, 9-5 favorite.
Well, we'll see if this one can. Now, she drew well on the outside. That should benefit her. But this is a much tougher field. We'll see how much improving. Maybe she's the now horse.
Well, she's, certainly been the now horse last couple of starts. Back-to-back wins in her introduction to racing at Aqueduct. So 2 for 2 here at the Big A. See if she can keep it going for Happy Face Racing Stable. Daughter of Violence, wants to be forwardly placed. Doesn't necessarily need the lead, though. But this is, as you mentioned earlier, unquestionably a tougher group she's going to have to deal with today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I
mean, even that last race, Cadota Pie is.
They're just in. These are better horses.
Yeah.
Listen, she ran a fast race, but wow, $6 on that horse. I base my handicapping on betting against horses that look better on paper than I believe they are, and betting on horses that look worse on paper. And in this situation, with My Roxy Girl and Violent Vixen, I believe you have a classic example of that.
If you're knocked out of the pick 5 or the pick 6, even if you're not, start a new one here with a pick 4.
Now I'm gonna stay with my 3-5 here in my second leg of the pick 5 and see how things go.
That last race not easy.
Well, I mean, I think the 9th race today, Cousteau is going to win if he's still can run either his last 2 races. I mean, last time out, he got buried in a monster pace that fell apart. He's logical, and I thought Rocco Strong was fairly logical off his last race. He made some sense in there. I didn't really like anybody else in there. I guess Jake rocks, but he never wins. For 27.
Yeah.
This is an interesting race. Horses like Ruvies in Time was with Rick Schosberg. And it was nice to see, by the way, Rick Schosberg and the people that take the lead. They claimed Twisted Tom out of yesterday's races.
Oh, they did.
New York bred that made a lot of money and had a huge 3-year-old year. They claimed him to retire him yesterday. So, a tip of the hat to them and a lot of credit to them. And not just for that, but all of the good they do in looking after the horses.
Great move. Yeah, he was... What is 8-year-old campaign? A horse who was very good on the sort of the New York Triple Crown Trail.
Yeah, no, he actually, he ran the Belmont Stakes.
Did he?
Yeah, he was actually part purchased. This is a surprise to you. His part of it was purchased by Saul Kuhlman. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's been known to buy into racehorses.
Every now and then.
Yeah, every now and then. But he had a big year. I think as a 3-year-old he made over $500,000.
Yeah, he had a huge 3-year-old year. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
I caught up with the trainer of number 2, Kept Waiting, Rob Falcone, and just asked him, what was the decision here? He's like, I don't know. She's doing well, staying in the barn. And I asked, has she given you any indication as far as breezing her on the dirt? And he said she is, she does what normal turf horses do, and that's they'll work well once they're in the bridle, but once they come off of it, they kind of fall apart a bit. And I was having this discussion with him, and they got the Jocks Up call, and Kendrick didn't want to wait for him. He just legged himself up on Kept Waiting. I always get amused when Kendrick just jumps up from the ground and hops on his horses. So at a short type of price, she's 5-1 right now. I don't know. I'd take the wait and see approach with Kept Waiting today, guys.
It's an $82,000 purse. You take a shot. If she doesn't run well, you wait for turf racing in a couple months.
Rather than keep her in the barn, right?
Absolutely. Just give her a shot. And, who knows? Sometimes they'll surprise you. I don't think that Rob could possibly be confident, but that doesn't mean it's wrong to run. $82,000 purse. Third is $8,000.
Horses prove their connections wrong all the time. See if that happens here. 5-1 on Kept Waiting. Dirt debut coming up with the 2, but the 8-5 favorite. Violent Vixen, the 7. She's trying to make it 3 consecutive victories and stay perfect here at Aqueduct. Let's go upstairs. Pick 4 starts here. John Imbrial with the call.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Violent Vixen, Ruvies in Time, Bastet at the rail. Bastet takes the lead. Ruvies in Time is running in second. And then it's My Roxy Girl. Here comes Keep Waiting, gaining ground down towards the rail. Violent Vixen's on the extreme outside. Length and a half to She's Not Bluffing, and 3.5 back to the trailer. Fight on Lucy. It's a tight bunch up front. 4 of them across the track. Bastet at the rail. Ruvies in Time is there, along with My Roxy Girl and Violent Vixen on the extreme outside. And down towards the rail, Kept Waiting is now coming on through. The quarter went in 22 and 3/5 seconds. Bastet is the leader here by almost 2 lengths. Kept Waiting and Ruvies in Time, they are heads apart, second and third. Followed by My Roxy Girl, Violent Vixen, widest of all as they turn into the stretch. Then She's Not Bluffing and Fight on Lucy. Kept Waiting has taken over the lead and quickly opened up here. Kept Waiting has opened up a 6 or 7 length lead on the field. Kept Waiting with that big move there at around the 3/16 pole, and she is on to victory. And it's a 3-win Sunday for Kendrick Carmouche. Kept Waiting the winner. Fight on Lucy comes on for second. Ruvies in Time was third.
And that's why you, as they say, tick all the boxes, because you just never know. Kept Waiting up the fence. 3-win afternoon for Kendrick Carmouche and dirt debut victory for Kept Waiting.
And I'm going to say the rail's not dead anymore.
Good point.
Because she couldn't have won by 8 lengths if the rail was still dead. Not surprising, it's gotten better, but this was just a blitz. I mean, I don't think the 3 ran. I don't think the 5 ran. I don't think the 7 ran. But she ran. This was a 1-horse race, effectively. I mean, she blitzed them. And that's what we were talking about, Greg. They're going the gate. I don't think that Rob Falcone cashed a bet on this horse. I think he's probably a little surprised.
Yeah.
But he understood. Get a New York bred. I'm going to take a shot with her on the dirt. What's the harm? You run them once. They run lousy. You wait 2 months. Well, guess what? They just made $44,000, a little about $45,000, over $45,100 in purse money for winning this race. And you know what else? Now they have options. Now they can run her in dirt races. The way she ran today, it's 55%.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Come on, Greg.
Kept
Greg
waiting.
thought he caught me on that. You really...
I was trying to help.
Yeah, just kidding.
Kendrick Carmouche, 3-win day. Robert Falcone, I'll never again have your back, but I really didn't there anyway.
Right.
5-year-old Marin, you're happy about it. Daughter of Broken Val.
It's all good.
Does she stay on the dirt now after this?
I mean, if you're Rob, you're probably thinking, what's the next New York bred dirt stake coming up? Sprint stake? I don't know. I mean, you got to find out how legitimate it was. And the other thing is, if she's ever in a turf race, gets rained off,
she will stay in, no question. We'll be back.
If you're looking into racing partnerships, you should know they're not all the same. When you partner with Bond Racing Stables, you become a member of a growing family of racing enthusiasts, all guided by 3 generations of experience in thoroughbred breeding, training, and racing. Share in the excitement at Saratoga and Belmont Park, where we've graced the winner's circle with winners like Giacosa, who was bred, born, and raised here at our Song Hill farm. Get more than just a partnership. Become a member of the Bond Racing family. 3 generations of thoroughbred excellence.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKinsey. McKinsey preservationist Vino Rosso and Yoshida. McKinsey's in front.
McKinsey, they've done it. McKinsey has it by 2. It's McKinsey in a dominant performance. Pure class in the Malibu.
Blood Horse Plus, available through bloodhorse.com, provides exclusive, timely, and unmatched content to subscribers, including Fox Sports, Blood Horse branded weekly programs, a detailed stakes winners section, behind-the-scenes videos from Blood Horse staff, on-demand access to deeper horse statistics, and a $5 monthly credit to equineline.com. Upgrade to Blood Horse Plus today.
Back on America's Day at the races on FS2. We're getting set for the feature coming up. Our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Rob Falcone, he took a shot with a 5-year-old mare who had never been on dirt. There's no turf racing here in New York for a little while. And she responds with a victory in her dirt debut at 5-1.
The way she ran there, she might never be on the turf again. I mean, that was some performance by her. I mean, obviously the favors didn't show up, and the long shot fight on Lucy got second, but didn't she win by 8 lengths?
It was dominant. And yeah, again, the inside appears to be A-OK. 3-win day for the man standing by with Maggie.
You can never stop him talking. Kendrick Carmouche's 3rd win of the day, kept waiting. A horse that had never been on the dirt before, Kendrick. You rode her on the turf. It looks as though she should have been on the dirt the whole time.
Well, you know, I warmed her up good, got her nice and comfortable on the dirt. I tried not to get in the way of her when she left the gate because you don't want to do that on turf horses, switching over to the dirt. So I kind of just broke and left her there. She kept finding her stride each jump she took, and by the time I got to the quarter pole, I had so much horse. I just dropped her head, and she just accelerated. I mean, you know, I never let the kickback get in her face, but she ran awesome. Rob Falcone had this horse ready to run, and you know, we got to keep it going. We got 3 already. We got to keep it going, baby. It's like a gumbo. The more you stick in the pot, the better it gets.
It's so true. As you will be on a board misinterpret in the Ruthless. You rode her last time at Parks. Blinkers on today. Did you have any input in that decision?
Yeah, I told Todd last time I rode her, you know, I watch her replays, and she always want to lose position throughout the race, and I think it's just because she's not running through the turns good, you know, and I think that would help her. I hope it helps her where we can get to the winner's circle today. So we're going to find out if it works.
Kendrick, you're always a guy who's very attuned to any track biases out there. It seems pretty fair for the first time in a long time. Is that true?
Well, I told my valet when I walk in the first race, I said the track gonna be lightning fast today. You can do whatever you want. They can go to the lead or come off the pace, but you can see it. I mean, take my hat off to Glenn and his team for the last couple of days in New York. I mean, our man hooked this racetrack up. For what I saw the last 2 days, the rain and everything, he made New York racing go this week, and I just like to say thank you.
Well done to you, too. Congrats on your 3 wins so far. All right, Kendrick Carmouche, hot hand. And he has ridden every race so far, Greg, and he rides the rest of them, too. So we'll see if he can pick up another win on this card.
Or multiple more wins. He's live in all 3 of the remaining races on the card going forward. So 3 wins, and we'll see how many more for Kendrick coming up. Kept waiting, we said. Long way to go in this pick 5. $13.20 on a horse that probably a lot of people dismissed because she'd never been under.
Yeah, this is never a horse that I'm going to bet on in here, and I didn't pick her, and I don't have any problems with that. But they took a shot, and we've talked about that. And you see that, usually you see it earlier in the meet. You see it a lot as we get to December. People saying, they're New York breds particularly, they're not going to send them to Florida, not going to try them. Give them one start, see if they handle the dirt, and if they don't, you give them the winter off. But if you do, it opens up so many doors. And frankly, the way she ran today, she's going to go back to the turf when she's shown Rob Falcone that this was an aberration and a fluke. Otherwise, she could be a New York bred stakes horse in the dirt. I mean, I'm not saying she will be, but this was impressive.
It was. She dusted that field. As for Kendrick Carmouche, 3 wins and counting. He's going to be on Wasp here, outside post for Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher, who's being ignored on the board right now. She's been off since May of last year. She was in a stakes race a couple starts back. She was actually favored in that race against Espresso Shot. She didn't show up that day.
She's winning an Eclipse Award as the worst favorite at any racetrack on earth in 2021. What was she favored of? The public loves Wasp. Not today, so she'll probably win.
She did have strong form coming into that race.
No, she should have been the longest shot on the board. And I said it.
She ran like it.
I think you didn't like her that day.
Early voting, impressive as could be in that Withers and White Abario. How good's that make Smile Happy look? We'll talk about his performance in Florida when we come back.
Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Sobomini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it.
The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
Back on America's Day at the races. We know what that chop means. We're back at Tampa. Their unofficial mascot. Off the turf in Oldsmar, Florida. And that means another opportunity to try and find one of very few that have dirt form.
Yeah, I mean, this is a race, and you and I were talking about off camera, where we both agree that they have the right favorite in the number 8. But the problem with this horse, from the perspective of looking for value off the turf, is this horse was an overwhelming favorite on the turf. So this horse is already getting bet because of being a turf horse. Though I don't disagree, because you said to me off camera that 4 to 5 seems pretty generous on her.
6-year-old.
I will say the only other horse that seems competitive is the 2, based on her last off-the-turf race.
Yeah. So back to the favorite for a moment, though. 6-year-old whose lone dirt start, and good point that you brought up, too. People might look, oh, that Gulfstream race last time out ran great on the dirt. That is not the case.
That race was on synthetic. And it is a problem, and it's hard for DRF because characters are tough to sort of find, extra characters. A lot of people are used to this at Arlington Park. When races get rained off the turf, the demarcation in DRF has them as an off-the-turf race. Now at Arlington or Woodbine, well, it's on synthetic because they only have a synthetic track. Gulfstream has a dirt track and a synthetic track. Nowadays, their off-the-turf races are going to go to synthetic, but Fly the W's last race was on synthetic, not dirt.
Here's Violent Fight, 14-1 from the rail.
Yeah, looking at this horse's dirt races, they just don't seem competitive.
Battle Creek. Should we just repeat what you said for many of these?
Well, no.
The 2 is not one of those, for sure.
The 2 is the one who 2 back ran a 70 buyer in an off-the-turf race. Now, that's the fastest figure she's ever run in off the turf, but she ran a 67 at Tampa Bay.
Yep.
To me, she's very clearly the other horse in here.
And there she is, 9-2. It's going to be the 5-year-old debut coming up for this son of Tiz Now. Take to the Skies. Actually started out sprinting on dirt, showed a little bit of ability.
That would be true, a little bit of ability, but she's never run competitive enough. She's clearly improved on the turf.
7-1. We jump to the 6 with the scratches, 26-1 over Praise.
She comes out of some of the lowest level dirt races they run at Tampa, and she hasn't been competitive.
Bridgekeeper, the 7, second off the claim.
2 dirt starts at Indiana, 1 off the turf and 1 scheduled. They're enough to say she could get a small piece of this.
And here's the one to beat, unquestionably 4 to 5. It's that race at Laurel that came off the turf that makes this one the standout.
I don't disagree, but I'm not sure that she's that much more likely to win this race than the number 2 is. Excuse me. Thank you, Greg.
And Call Brothers outside.
This
one start on dirt.
Yeah, this is where the value lies in the race. This horse is 1 start in the dirt. The horse did no running. This is a turf and synthetic horse that's being bet for the wrong reasons and is creating value.
All right, we'll get back to it. Well, the odds-on favorite, Fly the W. Get it done here in this off-the-turf event from Tampa. We'll be back with this one right after a break.
Undefeated Grade 1 winner Mastery was a multiple graded stakes winner at 2, including this victory in the Los Alamitos Cash Call Futurity. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales ring, and his first runners are hitting the track. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Backstretch workers are the backbone of the thoroughbred racing industry. Without them, racing would not be possible. The New York Racetrack Chaplaincy provides vital programs and services to all the workers and their families, like Sponsor a Family, the Food Pantry, as well as other recreational activities and events. You can help by visiting our website and donating today. Every dollar makes a difference to those who give everything to the sport that we love.
Harris Farms, proudly standing Smiling Tiger, a triple Grade 1 winner, defeating Breeders' Cup champions Dancing in Silks and Amazombie, a leading California sire with over $9.7 million in progeny earnings, with 94 winners in 2021 and graded stakes superstars like Spice Perfection.
Spice Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
And Tiger Dad. Smiling Tiger, a leading California sire, standing at Harris Farms. It pays to be Cal bred.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you where you can play all the racing we bring you at Naira Bets. Go to NairaBets.com, download that Naira Bets app, and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. 7th race is next here at the Big A. 6 furlong sprint. New York Threads compete in an allowance optional claiming sprint at 3/4 of a mile. As you take a look at the current odds, Buston Bay, Rob Falcone looking to go back-to-back.
I thought this was the single most competitive race on the entire card today, looking at it. I mean, I just think you can make a lot of cases for different horses in this race. I'm more interested in horses 5, 6, 7, 8, and particularly like By Hubby Hello Money, who I think will appreciate cutting back. Are you surprised that Grudge is such a big price right now? The number 9, 8. I thought she was the speed, and I thought she was.
I'm surprised both those two are the numbers there. Wasp outside as well. I know you're not a fan, but still, the fact she's 10-1.
Yeah, I'm scared of wasps, so maybe that's part of it. You know, once she got stung by a wasp.
Never a good thing.
No, not
Well, this
good at
field
all.
might get stung by a wasp, and if they do, that's 4 today for Kendrick Carmouche. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
And they will be handsomely rewarded, too, if she does stay at her current price of 10-1, Greg, as we'll take a look at her here in the paddock. I not only wasn't a fan of her like Andy on form, I wasn't a fan of her in the paddock that day. Not only did I not think she was a turf horse whatsoever, despite being by American Pharoah, who I do tend to like his progeny on the turf, she looks like a horse that is more prone to liking a wet track, which is the only place she's ever won a race. 2 sloppy sealed tracks. And you can see it with her physically. She's the quintessential wet track horse. Small, cuppy hooves, smaller, a little bit lighter framed, but 2, going back to that turf effort, and I get why they tried it with her because, yeah, she went on sealed tracks. She did not look great. She looked weak. She was nervous. She was washy. And now she comes back off of that long layoff. And it's done her very well. She's filled out. She's gotten stronger, especially throughout her hind end. And 2, with the turn back in distance, maybe that has people a little bit scared, but I've always thought that, at least physically, she's built to be okay sprinting. And I like the fact that she comes in here fresh and she seems keen enough to be effective at the 6 furlong. So I'm actually on the positive end of the spectrum looking at Wasp here today. I like what I'm seeing from her coming back off the bench. It's just, can she do it on a good harrow track as opposed to the sloppy sealed tracks? Number 8, Grudge. I agree, it's a big price on her too. She looks as though she's loose in here, and I've always been a fan of Grudge. I mean, she's a filly that is 8 for 21 lifetime. You don't often see that. She knows how to win, but sometimes if she's not going to win, she doesn't show up much at all. So she's a little bit, I don't want to be too unfair to her, a little bit of an all or nothing type. But I like what I'm seeing from her second off the bench claim, for Rob Atras. Healthy coat, just everything. She ticks every box here. So I like Grudge, as well as number 7 By Hubby Hello Money. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of 9 furlongs, 7 furlongs, 6 furlongs, back to 9 furlongs. I don't love that jumping around with a horse, but I do agree with Andy that she at least is more suited to this type of distance. Maybe the 7 furlongs is probably her real sweet spot, but she's really well turned out here. She's accompanied by the pony, but she doesn't seem too nervous or anything like that. And she gets Lasix for this start here. I like what I'm seeing from By Hubby Hello Money. We'll see what kind of trip, though, she works out here, as it doesn't seem to be an abundance of pace that's going to play out in front of her, Greg.
9-2 on By Hubby Hello Money. Thank you, Maggie. And there, a look at Grudge, who should be leading the way in here under Manny Franco.
Yeah, she's the other potential speed is the 2 beautiful Karen. The board is in my opinion, is just all wacky here. There's, to me right now, there is an absolutely ridiculous favorite on board in Buston Bay. I know she's coming off 2 wins. People like wins. We saw that worked out in the last race. And she beat a $12,000 claiming race and then a $25,000 claiming race with 2 unbelievably perfect trips against two extremely vulnerable fields. And now she's coming into this is a super highly competitive race. I mean, if you like her and you're getting 12-1, that's fine. But at 5-2, I think she's a complete joke. I also think, as we're looking at Tampa, I think the 2 is an overlay at 5-1. I bet a little to win the 2. Bet a 2 exacta box and press the 8-2 exacta.
Go ahead.
No, what's wrong with that horse's dirt race?
Yeah, it seems like it's a 2-horse race. It's Battle Creek or the logical one who opened at 1-5. Fly the W based off that Laurel race that came off the grass, but deserves to be favored.
Of course. Well, first of all, she is clearly the best horse in this race, and she's handled the dirt and run, respectively well on the dirt. But on paper, she might have been odds-on the turf in here, right? I mean, on paper, she overlaid this field. It's a big drop down for her. And the one they're misbetting is the 9. Now, listen, if the 9 runs well, so be it. But she's run one time in the dirt and didn't do it right. Now, it's off the PPs, to be honest with you.
Was a wet track.
Was a wet track. Have you seen the race? Do you have the PPs in front of you for it? Do you have his lifetime PPs?
I do not have it.
I am going to put them up, actually, on my phone. So I have them. What is today? The 6th? Oh. Well, that's not going to help.
But, look, there's a dirt work that shows some ability. I mean, we don't know what was asked for in that work, who else worked that morning, but at least hinting at some ability. And you don't probably have to have a lot of ability to win against this group.
No, I don't disagree, but I don't want any part of her. This does not appear to be a dirt horse at all. And this is the kind of horse I look to bet against. I think this is an opportunity. The 2 is 6-1 to me. She's the same price as the 3. How does that make any sense, that the 2 is the same price as the 3? 3 in the dirt can't stand up. I'm mystified.
Well, I wouldn't say that. But
well, the dirt races are atrocious. I mean, they're slow.
Was in a maiden special. Sprinting, it showed a little ability sprinting, no? I'm with you, though. I mean, I think the 8 is a massive standout, and the 2 is the other one.
I'll put it this way. That's fine. Do you think the 2 and 3 should be the same price?
No.
Right. That's more my point.
Jason Beam, 8th from Tampa. See how it plays out.
For a start here, today's 8th race, the Cody's Original Roadhouse Race of the Week. Call Bros, Jose Bautista to the outside gate. Call Bros goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Caught him in a very good line. Take to the Skies shows speed down toward the inside. Violent Fight is forwardly placed. Those 2 quickest by the wire the first time around. Fly the W, the favorite, came away in a good spot in 3rd. Battle Creek down toward the inside in the lime colors comes through to be 4th. Then comes Bridge Keeper. Call Bros going to be hung out about 5 wide into the turn. And at the back early on comes Overpraise. As they go by the 7/8 pole, Overpraise's stablemate. Violent Fight is up front. It's Violent Fight. They're by a length and a half. To Take to the Skies in 2nd. Battle Creek comes through down toward the inside, cuts the corner, takes over 3rd. 24 seconds for the opening quarter mile, and onto the back stretch. Long shot, Violent Fight is the leader. Take to the Skies 2nd. On the outside, Fly the W, the favorite in the clear. Battle Creek, Overpraise starting to make up a little bit of ground down toward the inside as they try to slack the pace up front. In the pink colors, just in behind them comes Bridge Keeper, who's now 6th, and Call Bros is last. But the 7 of them only covered by about 3.5 or 4 lengths as Violent Fight is surrounded now. Take to the Skies on the outside, Battle Creek right to his inside, and down on the rails, Overpraise. Fly the W waiting in the wings on the outside, but is going to be about 4 or 5 wide into that turn. Bridge Keeper starts to move in between runners. Call Bros still last, but still just 3 lengths front to back. As up front, Violent Fight has been taken over by Take to the Skies and Fly the W. Fly the W up on the outside of Take to the Skies. Call Bros starting to launch on the outside. Bridge Keeper picking it up between horses. These are the 4 with forward momentum. The other 3 start to drop back. They come to the top to the stretch, and a 2 to 5 shot. Fly the W into the lane in front by a length. Take to the Skies battling on. Call Bros down the outside. Has to make up 2.5 in the final furlong. As up front, Fly the W starts to edge clear. Fly the W to the 16th pole. Now the lead is 3 lengths. Call Bros is 2nd. Long way back to Bridge Keeper. Tries to rally up inside of Take to the Skies, but Fly the W doing just that. Wins it here by 5 in the end. Call Bros was 2nd. 3rd, Take to the Skies. 4th was Bridge Keeper, and 5th, Violent Fight.
Fly to W, they tried to make it difficult on him, and it did not matter. Jesus Castanon Had plenty underneath against this group.
Yep, gets the job done and gets the job done quite easily. My 2 was virtually eased in there. I don't know if something went wrong, but unfortunately did not run. But this one, 2 to 5 on this one.
Yeah, it took a ton of money late. Back to New York, post parade for the 7th. Here's Electric Youth.
Well, she did close last time, which is hard to do, but she did it up the gold rails, and this is a much tougher spot. But she's in good form.
Yeah, she's trying to make it 3 in a row. Beautiful Karen, 6 to 1.
Well, she's a little interesting, especially now the rail looks like it's okay. She's got speed.
There's Bustin Bay on that 2-race win streak.
I think she is one of the worst bets in history at 5 to 2. This is too tough for her.
11 to 1. Happy Sophia Michelezzi.
She's a little overmatched on her recent form.
Rosa Veloce, Ailsa Morrison.
I thought she's in the best form she's ever been in. I thought she was a player in here for Ray Handel.
3rd to Ruby's in time, last time out. Prairie Fire, 19 to 1.
Switches the Apprentice, hasn't had the best of trips in her recent starts.
9 to 2 next door on this one. By Hubby, Hello Money.
I like this one. I think she fits in sprinting. In her last sprint, 6 furlongs, she finished 2nd, the important one. It would be very tough to beat in here.
Yeah, coming to 3 straight stakes races, too. Here's the 8 Grudge, Rob Atras.
Not surprisingly, this one's getting bet down a little bit right now, as she should. And I think, she just seems like a logical speed horse, the horse to beat up front.
Yeah, going to be in front by herself. And then Wasp still holding at 9 to 1.
I'm not knocking a horse that's a big price. Todd Pletcher at Aqueduct. Here's some nats. Naira. 6 months to a year on the dirt, a layoff in a dirt sprint. He's 7 for 44, 89-cent ROI. But she's a big price if you like her. I just don't like her.
Minute to post coming up. And she will have the hot hand aboard. Again, Kendrick looking for number 4 on Wasp from that outside post. Let's check in with Jonathan, get his thoughts here in the 7th.
Yeah, look, I agree with Andy. I'm a sucker for speed. I like the 8 Grudge as well. This is a horse that just switched to Rob Atras's barn last time, went entirely too fast early, still ran okay. I think this horse will be loose, won't have to run nearly as fast this time. Give me the 8 Grudge at 5 to 1.
See if Manny Franco can nurse out that speed and save enough for the stretch here and try and go gate to wire. 8-time winner from 21 starts. She knows how to finish. There she is. And certainly on this one, with the fact that she's going to be alone in front, you knew that price was going to come down.
You would think, unless the 2 goes on a mission, she's going to be alone in front. I agree with you. I think she makes a lot of sense in this race. I actually thought she was the horse to beat.
So 2 fillies, both trying to make it 3 wins in a row. The Rail Runner, Electric Youth, and Bustin Bay, Rob Falcone looking to go back-to-back, winning the 6th race as well. And this filly trying to win her 3rd straight. And 3rd in a row at Aqueduct. FS1 about to join us here in just a moment. Slight pause here. Welcome to those just joining us on FS1. You've joined us just in time for the start of race 7 here at Aqueduct. Good to have you with us. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Maggie Wolfendale. Here's the 7th. Let's go to John Imbrial from Aqueduct.
And they're off. Number 6, Prairie Fire, steadied shortly after the start and is the trailer. Beautiful Karen is going out for the lead. Grudge is right there on the outside with Rosa Veloce racing in 3rd. Then a break of 2, Bustin Bay down at the rail in 4th. Happy Sophia is alongside in 5th. Then Wasp in 6th, followed by Hubby, Hello Money. And then comes a Prairie Fire. And being pulled up, number 1, Electric Youth. Electric Youth is out of the race. Quarter went in 22 and 2/5 seconds. It is Beautiful Karen with the lead over Grudge. Beautiful Karen by 3/4 of a length. Grudge runs in 2nd, and it's Rosa Veloce down towards the rail, next in 3rd, as the field comes for the quarter pole. It is still Beautiful Karen and Grudge. They are 1-2. Rosa Veloce looks to come through down at the rail. Rosa Veloce looking to rally down on the inside of Beautiful Karen. It's Beautiful Karen and Rosa Veloce. Now they are together. Here comes Rosa Veloce up the inside to take over the lead. Beautiful Karen is in 2nd. By Hubby, Hello Money is in 3rd. It is Rosa Veloce up the inside to win it. Beautiful Karen held 2nd over By Hubby, Hello Money.
Rosa Veloce, Ailsa Morrison continuing to make her name for herself here in this New York circuit, and she had a ton underneath her Filly in tight quarters on the fence, plenty of finish.
And she drove this horse to the inside. And I think after what we've seen these last 2 races, the rail's gotten very good. The Too Beautiful Karen ran, and she was inside before she drifted off. But this horse got it done. She was an awfully generous price at 14-1 for a horse whose last 2 races were as strong as they were. And she gets it done coming down on the good inside. But nice job by her. I just wish the 7 had gotten second.
14-1 on Rosa Veloce, 5-2, 7-4, and it seems like, yeah, this track has completely changed.
Even on the gold rail, the ridiculous 5-2 on Buston Bay. Wow, yeah, this track has definitely changed. The rail's gotten very, very good.
Elsa Morrison, mid-stretch, had that riding crop out and realized, I don't even need this. Let's go to a hand ride.
I'm a fan. We've pointed out many times, I'm a fan. She can ride.
Well, it helps when you have a filly finishing like this as well. 14-1. This is going to knock a lot of people out of the multi-race wagers here with a big price. But a horse that you thought coming in, I mean, facing Ruvies in time last time out, that was a good performance.
Yeah, no, I'm alive in doubles here. I'd actually used her in my now defunct pick 5, unfortunately, but I thought she made a lot of sense in here. I mean, the key to that race was betting against the 3. It was double-digit horse. It was 5.
Feature race, co-feature, still to come. That is 3-year-old fillies sprinting in the Ruthless, and you're taking a look at the odds for that right now. 7/8 of a mile, wide open group in this 7-horse field. Shotgun Hottie moving to a new barn. Used to be with our colleague Tom Amos, now with Bill Morey, who's having a sensational Aqueduct, and she'll cut back in distance today.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's the worst to beat in here coming back. I think there was some frustration at Fairgrounds and getting into races, and she's come up here to go here. William Morey's horses are running extraordinarily well, to say the least, and the same connections that had her before. Cuts back a little in distance, which should help her out. Very logical. I like the 6, knowing Lance, but I think this is the one I have to worry about. Somebody else. If anybody wins this race besides 6 and 7, I have no idea who it's going to be.
She's exiting a race, too. I mean, that was an open company stake at the Fairgrounds, and she was competitive there.
Yeah, no, I think she ran well last time. And for this trainer, with all due respect to Tom Amos, this trainer's horses are running through walls right now in New York. They're running huge numbers and running big.
5-2 morning line. We'll see what she opens up at in this Ruthless, named after, of course, the winner of the first ever Belmont Stakes. A filly, one of 3 fillies ever to win that race, and she'd go on to win the Travers later that year as well. Take a look at what remains here on our FS1 coverage, presented by Claiborne Farm. Races 8 and 9. Ruthless in the finale. Track still listed as good here in New York. And then the nightcap from Tampa Bay, that maiden claiming event to close out the card in Oldsmar, Florida, was scheduled for the turf. They've been off the turf all afternoon. That was, since we've been on anyway, that was a late change. So we'll get to that coming up as well. Back in the 7th from New York, Elsa Morrison, relatively new here to the circuit, having some nice success here in New York.
I like the way she rides. I've been impressed with how she's ridden. She clearly wanted to be inside, and whether or not it was because she was, saw what happened in the last race for whatever reason. Maybe Ray told her to go there. She was determined to go down the inside. It was the right move. I mean, you even see how horses, the 3 wasn't running. She sucked up for like 5th coming up the rail, and the horses that were inside are making the better moves. It's like we're back to the track we've had way too frequently over the last month or so.
Yeah, nice to see Ray Handel here get a win. $30 winner. Ray Handel, tough Saturday with a horse he was hoping would be able to stay on that Triple Crown trail. Tough day for Constitution Lawyer.
Yeah, he didn't run at all. I don't know if they felt there was any excuse. I don't think he was down on the inside, so he just didn't run.
Take a look at this pick 5. Started out very formful with Direct Order, who was the favorite, and all of a sudden it's got very tough. Kept waiting, had never been on dirt, wins the dirt debut, and now Rosa Veloce at 14-1. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Please be joined by apprentice Elsa Morrison in here. And Elsa, what a brave ride up the rail today. It seems as though the rail is a good place to be today, but talk about your decision to brave it up there with Rosa Veloce.
I know the filly, and she's a very brave, scrappy little thing, so we waited it out. I was sweating a little bit, but to make that turn to save that ground, I knew she could make it, so.
And I've seen you've made the most with the opportunities that you've been given so far here at this Aqueduct Winter Meet. You work a lot in the morning, so you mentioned you know her well. Have you been working her?
Yes, I worked her last work before she ran. Said this thing's ready for something good.
And the decision to come here, you're originally from Canada, right? Yes. Decision to come here, I know you've worked for Belmont for the past 2 years. Why start back up here at Aqueduct?
I listened to my agent and Bill, and they suggested this is the best place to be, and I trust them and their expertise, and here I am.
Well, you're making a name for yourself. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, Elsa Morrison. It won't be 10-pound apprentice too much longer, I think, but congratulations. Rosa Veloce pulling off a big upset here, guys.
She's been impressive. She only began riding in October of 2019. Was actually riding cross-country eventing at 7 years old. So she's been doing this for a long time and getting her moment and making the most of it.
You preparing to write the Elsa Morrison biography? I'm impressed.
We're gonna have if she keeps winning like this, we're gonna have her feature coming up soon.
You know, we've complimented her a lot. We said that. I love that we had that try the other day with the 3 women jockeys running 1, 2, 3, and she's running through that bug. She can ride, no question about it. She's often in good spots with her horses, and she doesn't seem to panic down there. And a lot of times, I mean, and, you know, it's not like she's winning on big front end horses and stuff. I like what I've seen from her.
Again, our co-feature, the Ruthless next, 3-year-old fillies sprinting 7/8 of a mile. And it is Shotgun Hottie, the cut back in distance. Current 5-2 favorite. See if she can pick up the second win of her career. Daughter a gun runner when we come back.
Smile Happy was a TDN rising star following his maiden win at Keeneland. From there, he captured the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes to remain undefeated and earning points toward the Kentucky Derby. In Future Pool 1, Smile Happy was individual leader by lowest odds. Among the top of his crop by stakes winners and earnings, Run Happy continues his rise and is priced for success. Call today and book your mare to Red Hot Sire Run Happy, standing in legendary Stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Wayward Lass continues to lead by about 7. Real Prize second by 2, then Fanuel's Jewel is third by 3. Fabulous Music in fourth, Escapement is fifth, Gutterbow in sixth, and Dancing Cutie back into 7th. Wayward Lass in front.
Wayward Lass, she was ruthless in the Ruthless victory. She'd go on to win the Coaching Club American Oaks, the Mother Goose, and she'd be crowned champion 3-year-old filly back in 1981.
Oh, very, very nice horse. I want to say Jose Martin trained her.
Cash Asmussen aboard.
Yeah, there you go. Wow. Flying Z stables, those old Flying Z colors. And that's a real Aqueduct site, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
and it mentioned Ruthless briefly earlier with the Ruthless coming up. One of the first ever running in that Belmont when it was 1 mile and 5/8 at Jerome Park, the first time it was ever run back in 1867. And when she broke her maiden at Saratoga, purse was $500.
Amazing, right? It's amazing even you look back on these stakes in the 70s. You know, the Whitney was like 50 or 75,000. It's amazing how the game's changed.
Going to get to our post parade in a little bit. Shotgun Hottie remains the favorite in here. We've talked a lot about her. 3-year-old filly by Gunrunner. We'll have Trevor McCarthy aboard.
To me, the only horse I could see winning besides 6 and 7 is the one who actually beat the track last time. And this track has demonstratively changed during the day and from yesterday, where we went from having a rail the last 3 days that was dead to a rail that didn't look to be a good place to be earlier in the card, though it seemed to be getting a little better. Now we apparently have a gold rail again, and that's going to move up a horse like Champagne Poetry, who's a contender as it is, but her chances greatly increased with the way the track is playing.
And a rider who you would think is pretty acutely aware of what's going on, especially with where he's drawn. He's got to be here because they got to go. As for Shotgun Hottie, there's the resume. Debut coming up here in New York after having started out her career at Churchill Downs for our colleague Tom Amos. That's where she broke her maiden. And even though she broke her maiden at a mile and a 16th, she was very competitive in a stake against Open Company at a mile and 70 at the fairgrounds. Sprinting in her debut, very good account of herself.
Yeah, no, she's just a horse who seems to be improving, and I like a turn back, and I think this is perfect. Going back from mile and 70, a mile 16 to 7 furlongs seems to suit her well. I mean, her best figure was last time, a mile and 70, but her first race in a debut figure was fast enough to suggest the distance is probably good for her, not bad.
But now you look at her, she's got the outside post, as good as the inside's playing. She's not a speed horse.
No.
Is it going to make her task very difficult?
Well, it doesn't help her chances. She was better off with the track we were having. She's also got a guy on her named Trevor McCarthy who's pays as much attention to bias as any jockey I've probably ever seen. So I think Trevor has made note of the difference in the racetrack in the last couple races. So I'm going to guess he's going to try to get inside. Now, I don't know that it's as strong as it was in other days because this is a highly unusual circumstance to have gone from a dead rail to a gold rail in seeming races. Though I think there was a little bit of a hint that the rail was getting better earlier in the day, but not to this extent. It really does seem to be propelling horses along, but we'll see how this race plays out.
Meanwhile, there is a look at Champagne Poetry. The one, Dylan Davis, will be aboard for Chad Summers, coming off in her second career start, a maiden-breaking win, and it was her dirt debut.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good field. That's what's against her. What's in her favor is she's not running against the strongest of fields of all time in this race. What I liked about her win is that she stalked on the outside. That track changed and got fairer as the day went on, but in the early part of the card, it seemed to be inside. But she beat a turf horse and Glitter Up. And the third horse, who came back to be a mediocre second in our first race today, albeit to a promising winner who probably could win this race, she was a distant sort of suck-up second. That horse who was third did have some trouble in the stretch, but she also was on the gold rail, and that's why she got in trouble.
And again, it was her dirt debut, and she won it. She also was getting Lasix for the first time and won. She will not be on Lasix today.
No, also worth pointing out, for people to understand that, you can't race on Lasix as 2-year-olds. So when she became a 3-year-old, they put her on Lasix. You can't run Lasix in stake races no matter how old you are, and this is a stake race. I also, listen, I'd love to see her do well. Her owner, Jonathan Hardoon, a lot of people may be familiar with, has worked for the Ragas and Sheets for many years, and somebody I've known for many, many years, the track. His brother Jeff, who I knew, I haven't seen him in years, the track, and his father Dave, who passed away. His father Dave was a very popular guy around the racetrack and one of the nicest men you would meet at the racetrack or anywhere.
See if she can take another step forward here coming up. Let's check in with Jonathan Kinchin. JK, your thoughts on this Ruthless?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Andy. I think the two outside horses are the most logical horses. I didn't need the one Champagne Poetry until the last two winners kind of came up the inside, so that's a little bit concerning. Like Andy mentioned, but I think the 6 Knowing Glance is interesting here. It's a horse that could have stayed at Oaklawn Park. I mean, let's be fair. Oaklawn Park has nice purses. They could have stayed down there and run at Oaklawn. But they decided, and obviously Oaklawn's canceled, but I'm assuming that wasn't part of the reason why they showed up here. This is a horse that has some okay numbers, and this horse ran well first out. took some money for Al Stahl, then switched to Mike Maker and has run well in Mike Maker's care. The last 2 races haven't been particularly great, but that's okay. I can kind of forgive those performances. I think Knowing Glance does make sense in here as a horse drawn towards the outside. We have to see what's going to happen with the racetrack, but obviously Knowing Glance has some races that fit. And then the 7 Shotgun Hottie. I typically have no interest in playing horses out of the care of Tom Amoss. When horses get taken away from Tom, in my brain typically, and not just Tom because he's our colleague, but because he does a great job, and there's a lot of trainers that are like that. It's an automatic, I'm not playing this horse moving from this trainer. But when you're moving to a guy like Bill Morey, who wins at 27% in his career with horses switching to his care for the first time, you have to take account of that. And on paper, Shotgun Hottie, to me, is the horse to beat, whether Tom was training the horse or Bill Morey was training the horse. I'm ultimately going to go with the 7 here. I agree with Andy. I think it's the 2 outside horses.
I want to expand a little on Knowing Glance. When this horse won 3 back, first time for Mike Maker, she beat a horse named Girl with a Dream. Well, Girl with a Dream, many may be familiar with, won the Forward Gal yesterday with an 86 buyer down at Gulfstream, beating the heavy favorite Radio Days. And in her last 2 starts, 2 back, she ran against a superior field of this. All 3 of the horses around 1, 2, 3 were 80-type buyer horses that were very, very tough. The second horse was mid-70s, but still, that was a better race than it looks. And last time out, she lost to Secret Oath, who I think we've seen in the show, maybe the second best 3-year-old filly in the country, and she was chasing the fast pace, going long, and now she cuts back. I think she's very strong. I'm just concerned with the way the racetrack seems to be changing, that she may not get the right trip.
She's 5-1 right now. Let's get back to Tampa. Again, this race taken off the turf. $32,000 maiden claiming event, and Machine Gun Preacher, a gun runner from the rail.
If you're looking for form, you're looking at the wrong race. So even though she hasn't done any running in her 2 turf races, she makes sense in this field.
Carl
He does.
Cares next door for a new barn, Derek Ryan.
I don't think Carl cares what surface he's running on. Based on his first race, he can't run in any of them.
Did very little running, was dead last on the grass. This will be the dirt debut coming up. Fast payday, first-time starter for Dennis Manning.
This horse has a gigantic amount of turf pedigree, and I was looking forward to betting this one on the turf. Bad performance, I'll bet this one back on the turf next time.
Next door, Commander Biz, the lone dirt start, did not show much at Delaware.
Yeah, I would pitch this one.
Adamar Santos, 12-1. Another first-time starter next door by Empire Maker, Trusted Advisor.
Yeah, I mean, I looked up this pedigree for turf, and there really isn't any. Maybe it's better for dirt, but I didn't look it up for dirt.
And we found out last minute surface would be
Right.
switched.
Like everybody did, unfortunately.
6-1 on still waiting to see that first timer. Still looking here at Commander Biz.
He's slow in the post parade. Does that mean he'll be slow in the race?
It's a wide open group, but the one we expected to be the favorite is. We'll get to him in a minute. Here's Trusted Advisor, who we were just talking about. Pablo Morales will be aboard. At least he's done nothing wrong.
That's an advantage in this
we'll
field.
Get Lasix, but yeah, many of these seem like they cannot run on dirt. That's not the case, though, for the 9 next door. The 9 actually has shown some ability and shown some speed on dirt.
Probably the
Sir
one.
Saffer.
Probably the one to beat in this race.
Here he is.
So
Kathleen
speed.
O'Connell trains.
Yeah, so, well, how far is this race? Hang on a second. The problem is this race is now a mile, so stamina may be a bit of an issue.
Here's the 10 Mean Joe Bro. He was in a maiden special on dirt.
Right. Well, he didn't run that badly, to be honest with you. In this field, I wouldn't discount him. That's why he's taking money.
And then 2 also eligibles draw into this group. Strong Eagle's one of them.
Yeah, this one did not do any running in the 1 dirt race.
As for, there he is at 11-1. Outside horse, this is the favorite, deservedly so. Wonder Water, blinkers on.
I Am Alive in the big $12 double with Wonder Water, who, unlike the others, has shown the ability to handle the dirt, but also to be able to handle the distance.
All right, we'll return there for that nightcap momentarily. It's back to New York for the Ruthless. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
We'll take a look at the main 3 in here. One that occupies the inside stall. It's number 1, Champagne Poetry, as she comes off the back of, at least on paper, a slower type of maiden win. But as Andy said, she did it against the track last time. And I really like, with each subsequent start, this being now her 3rd, she just seems to improve. She puts on more conditioning, she gets stronger, she gets more confident and well within herself. And I think the 7 furlongs here for this Ruthless is just absolutely ideal. Because I don't know how far she wants to go at least as of now. So I just like the incremental steps out in distance. I like her. I think she, as well as the way the track's playing, deserves a big shot in here. As we'll move on to number 6, Knowing Glance, and both the outside horses do have at least the kind of conditioning and the races, the more frequent races into them over the number 1 Champagne Poetry. And Knowing Glance, I mean, she certainly ran like a horse that did not want any part of the 2-turn mile at Oaklawn last time. It's funny, I saw her in her debut up at Saratoga, and I had written that she looks like she might appreciate going just a little bit further than what the 6 furlong. So yes, getting back here to the 1-turn 7/8 is ideal. They're keeping her quiet in the saddling stall there. She's very quiet nonetheless. She looks okay. I do agree that she drops out of probably the best races of anybody, because Secret Oath looks like a legit Kentucky Oaks contender as we move forward throughout the year. She's okay. She's kind of the one, at least upon looks of the main 3, that I rank 3rd. As we'll move on to number 7, Shotgun Hottie. Now, Bill Morey, as he's taken over training with this filly, did get a work into her at the Belmont training track, and he has been quoted as saying that she trains like a horse that really is more of a true router. And I get that. I get that looking at her, certainly, because there's a lot of legs. She's a much more evenly built daughter of Gun Runner, and I do think distance will be her friend. But she is sharp heading into this effort. She came in, on the muscle. She's been kind of antsy and ready to go. I wish she looked a little bit better in her coat if I had to split hairs with her, as she is likely to be the favorite in here. And 2, like I said, the distance poses a slight question with me, but otherwise, I really have no knocks against her. We'll see what Shotgun Hottie can do from the outside in this Ruthless, Greg.
Yeah, it's going to be, thank you, Maggie. It's going to be interesting to see what Trevor McCarthy, how he tries to work things out with this filly from this outside post and the way this track's playing.
She doesn't have a lot of speed like the 6, and they're not dramatically slow, but they're not likely to be as fast as some other horses in here. And so, I guess they'll have to try to work the trip. It's tricky. It's weird. And listen, I'm not a rider, nor could I be a rider, but I'm sure that Trevor is thinking about it a great deal, and he'll try to do the best he can. I mean, obviously, separation would help him a lot. Whether or not we get that remains to be seen.
I guess the good news for him is there's a few on the inside that seem like they do all want to go.
You would think the 1, 2, and 3 would all be you would think some version of aggressive. Whether or not they are, I don't know.
Here's Jet Force, this 3, who comes in undefeated. Rider change for Jose Lezcano for Jeremiah O'Dwyer. The 2 wins, though, came at Penn National. What do you make of those 2 wins and now coming to New York?
Well, I think those wins make the horse, if those races were in New York, I'd say she was a fringe player. My problem is that in general, form at Penn National often doesn't get reproduced, especially in New York. And in looking up, I can only look up who they ran against. I know what the speed figures are, and they're not completely uncompetitive here, particularly the last one. The problem is that last field this horse was in against was really not strong on paper. And, for instance, the second horse is not very good at all. So the way I look at it, I don't want any part of that horse. But, we'll see.
All right, we'll get back to the Ruthless. We head over to Tampa for their nightcap on this Sunday card. And it's still Wonder Water, that outside post drawing in from the also eligible list. This race coming off the turf, your favorite. Now that price getting shorter and shorter, down to 2-1.
I have to think in this race, 1:40, it's one of the really things people like about it is this horse shown an ability to go longer. Some ability to go longer.
Yeah, being generous there. Let's go to Jonathan for more.
Yeah, this is a tough race. If you looked at the pick 5 sequence that became off the turf, this was a hard race to look at when it was on the turf, and then off the turf. There's just not a lot of horses in here that have a lot of dirt form. I thought the 10 Mean Joe Bro made a little bit of sense in maiden special weight, showed a little bit of speed last time. So maybe when there's turf horses chasing, maybe this horse can kind of stick around a little bit, and the drop could help a little bit as well. And then the other horse that I thought you'd probably want to take a look at is the 8 Trusted Advisor. It's an Empire Maker. The horse has been working on the dirt, so it's not as if the trainer hasn't seen the horse try to run on the dirt on this surface. And the decision to stay in this race Sometimes that decision can be made because they want to get the horse a race. The horse is ready to run. So let's just kind of, run him in here and then get him back to the turf next time. I think the 8 Trusted Advisor, you could probably make worse decisions in your life than wagering on a horse like this at 9-1 out of Empire Maker, trying the dirt in the debut.
All right, Jonathan, thanks. See right-hand side of your screen, we have the call to post, and we'll try and get as much of this post parade in as we can, but we may not be able to.
In my version of No Exit, the room I'm in shows endless, continuous circles behind the gate at Tampa Bay.
And how much did you pay for that piece of art?
Right.
2-1 favorite outside. Wonder Water at 14. The 1 moves in. Machine Gun Preacher, and despite really abysmal form, but it was against better on dirt. This horse getting played in this field.
Listen.
It shows you what kind of field this is on dirt.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, it was a bit of a crapshoot on the turf, and now it's just tough. I hope there's people out there that are somehow live in the carryover in the pick 5. I know they announced that off the turf very late, so that made it problematic, to be kind. And there was also a big long shot won the first leg.
Yeah, $38 horse, Estilo Elegante, started off the sequence. Jason Beam with the call, this nightcap from Tampa. It's the outside runner. Wonder Water with Daniel Centeno, the 1 to beat.
Commander Biz goes in. Wonder Water. Daniel Centeno to the outside gate to complete the line. Goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Good start for Sir Saffer, who heads out for the early advantage. Mean Joe Bro is right there in that second flank. Commander Biz down toward the inside. And Strong Eagle going to be 4 deep as they go into that first turn. Wonder Water out in the 4 path as well, trying to get over a little bit from that outside draw. Then comes Carl Cares. In between horses, his trusted advisor. Machine Gun Preacher with 1 beat, and that's Fast Payday, who had a little bit of a tardy start and is now about 10 lengths behind as they wheel toward the back stretch. 6 furlongs left to go. Sir Saffer, who they got to catch. Sir Saffer on the back stretch, clear by almost 3 now. In the second spot is Commander Biz. Strong Eagle stays down toward the clear in 3rd. Mean Joe Bro in the red colors down toward the inside 4th, 23 and 2/5 seconds for that opening quarter mile. It's 2 more then back to Wonder Water, who's 5th right now, about 6.5 behind. It's 2.5 more then back to Carl Cares, Machine Gun Preacher. Another 3 then to Trusted Advisor, and it's another 10 after that back to Fast Payday, who's got to be 20 lengths behind. 3.5 furlongs left to go in the finale. Sir Saffer just coasting along up front, leads it still, that 3.5, 4-length margin. Commander Biz, Strong Eagle, they're together 2nd, 3rd. On the outside, Machine Gun Preacher in the orange color starts to rally up 3 deep. Wonder Water trying to get going from the 5th spot is still about 4.5 behind as Sir Saffer starting to come back to him a little bit. Strong Eagle draws within 3/4 of a length now. It's 2 more lengths then back to Machine Gun Preacher, Commander Biz. Trying to get going, Carl Cares is also putting in a bid from the back. Also running on from the back, Trusted Advisor. The closers are coming after Sir Saffer. Sir Saffer still the leader. Strong Eagle up on the outside, right alongside. They're 2 clear of Carl Cares in the white cap. Down the extreme outside, Trusted Advisor. The picture changing here as Trusted Advisor and Carl Cares, the 2 that go on. Strong Eagle is back to 3rd down the outside, Wonder Water. But a final 16th to go. It's Trusted Advisor, Carl Cares. These 2 for the final 50 yards. Trusted Advisor, Carl Cares. Trusted Advisor held on. Carl Cares was 2nd. It was a long way back then to Strong Eagle and Wonder Water, and 5th was Commander Biz.
First-time starter, Trusted Advisor, son of Empire Maker, wins at first asking to close out that card.
I think you get an appliance or a gift at the window if you have this exacted too. Not an easy one to come up with.
Not at all. Ruthless coming up. They're loading in the gate. As you can see, 9-5 favorite. This filly on the outside, Shotgun Hottie, the daughter of the astounding sire Gunrunner, will turn back in distance here and try and pick up the 2nd win of her career. 9-5 on the board with Trevor McCarthy. Does need to try and work out a trip from that outside post. And this track certainly seemingly kind to being on the inside. We'll see what Trevor McCarthy does. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the call.
They're in the gate and set for the Ruthless. And they're off. Knowing glance, there goes Lady Milagro, and in between horses, Jet Force. Lady Milagro and Jet Force are heads apart for the lead. Knowing glance is now back in third. Champagne Poetry down on the inside runs in fourth. Almost 3 lengths to the gray Landslid, who is in fifth. On the outside is Shotgun Hottie, and down at the rail is Misinterpret. Lady Milagro is the leader here by a length and a quarter, with Jet Force in pursuit in second through a quarter in 22 and 3/5 seconds. Knowing glance, Champagne Poetry. Champagne Poetry is now advancing down at the rail. Lady Milagro is the leader, 2.5 lengths. Champagne Poetry is at the rail. And on the outside of Champagne Poetry is Jet Force. Knowing glance is dropping back. Passed on the inside by Landslid. Passed on the outside by Shotgun Hottie. Misinterpret is the trailer. Lady Milagro is the leader through a half mile in 45 and 4/5 seconds. It is Lady Milagro with the lead. The lead's 2.5 lengths. Champagne Poetry is all out in second. Landslid is next in third. Shotgun Hottie out at the middle of the track, and down at the rail is Misinterpret. Lady Milagro holding the lead. Champagne Poetry with one last try on the outside. Shotgun Hottie is coming on as well, so it's 3 of them across as they come for the finish. Champagne Poetry and Shotgun Hottie. Oh, it's a photo finish. Champagne Poetry on the inside, Shotgun Hottie on the outside in the Ruthless Stakes.
Photo finish in this co-feature. Dylan Davis on Champagne Poetry, the 1. Trevor McCarthy on Shotgun Hottie, the 7.
This is very, very, very close. The 1 had it before the wire. I'm just not sure if the 7 got her nose down in time. Got her there. I don't know.
If it's the inside, 5-2. If it's the outside, the 9-5
I can't
favorite.
see with the glare. If we could show that, could we show that slow motion again one time? Not that one. The other.
One more time down the stretch.
Yeah, I can't see
Trevor
this
McCarthy never had the ability to try and get to the inside.
I can't tell on this one. You know, the other one's a little bit easier, but this is very hard. You know, it's not dissimilar to one we saw recently where you just don't know exactly where it happens, because this is really. It felt like as they hit the mirror, the 6 was in front, the 1 was in front. I think the 7 got
jump.
it. Yeah.
Shotgun Hottie, the 7, up for the victory in the narrowest of margins.
And even in this race, while the 2 fell apart late, Lady Milagro was a very tough horse to like in this race. And you see how the rail catapulted her. And the 1, Champagne Poetry, excellent ride by Dylan Davis. He spent the vast majority on the rail. There was nothing that Trevor McCarthy could do with Shotgun Hottie, and that's why, you know, he ended up outside. He could never get in. You talked about this before the race. But she got it done. She was best.
Sometimes if you're best, bias does not matter.
Yeah, or maybe she would have been 4 lengths the best if it had been a fair racetrack, you know, and sometimes you're still able to overcome it, but this track has changed dramatically. I will say this is not a particularly fast race.
No, 124 and 4 for the 7/8 of a mile, but gutty effort from Shotgun Hottie. Wide throughout and overcomes it to get this win under Trevor McCarthy, and got to feel good for Bill Morey too. First time in his barn, and she's able to deliver with a victory, pick up the 2nd win of her career, now a stakes winner of the Ruthless. We'll have the prices from this one when we come back. Photo finish that goes to the daughter of Gunrunner here, Shotgun Hottie with the Ruthless score. Nightcap still to come.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe. And his offspring are lighting up the sales ring. With his biggest and best quality of books in the pipeline, the sun shines bright on this value sire. Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is
A sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Introducing Giftbox, winner of the Grade 1 Santa Anita Handicap. He's a 3-time graded stakes-winning millionaire with 4 triple-digit buyers and a 4 Ragazin to his name. He proved himself early as a graded stakes place 2-year-old, and now his career as a stallion is just getting started. From the first crop of the leading sire Twirling Candy out of a multiple graded stakes producing mare. Giftbox, new for 2021, only at Lane's End.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com. We're back on America's Day at the Races on FS1 and FS2. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. The Ruthless co-feature goes to Shotgun Hottie. Trevor McCarthy, first start in the barn of Bill Morey. Well done. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Here with winning trainer Bill Morey as he sent out Shotgun Hottie. And Bill, were you sweating that one out like all of us?
That was tight. You know, Trevor said he really had to get her going late, and we got a good bob on the wire. But she ran a great race. So did the runner-up as well.
Now, you had said that you were a little concerned that the 7/8 might be a little too sharp for her. So what went into the decision, though, to send her up here from the owners, from Tom Amos's barn, try her here in New York, and come back in distance?
The owner, Jeff Ganji, and his partner, Omar Aldabaugh. Jeff, I have a horse for Jeff named Beatbox at Turfway that's doing well, and Jeff kind of rewarded me on some luck with Beatbox and sending me this filly. And kind of looked at her conditions of what were coming up, and I mentioned New York to him, and we thought it'd be worth a try. So it all worked out well.
Now, do you continue to stretch her back out in distance? Obviously, she broke her maiden around 2 turns.
We had trained her. Obviously, Tom Amos did a great job with her as well. We just kind of picked up where he left off, and we actually trained her to try to get her to settle a little bit after that last race, and we almost got her to settle too much today, but it worked out.
Where do you go next?
We're going to enjoy this one, and I'll talk to my clients, and we'll decide.
All right, well, another one by Gun Runner. He has had quite a season with his first crop. Congratulations, Bill.
Thank you.
All right, Bill Morey just getting up with Shotgun Hottie as Trevor McCarthy needed every bit of the stretch to get her nose on the wire for this Ruthless win. Guys?
And it is a sweep of the weekend stakes for the sire Gun Runner. Just keeps on continuing to impress after an incredible year as a first crop sire. Shotgun Hottie, very impressive here. That's a tough beat for Champagne Poetry.
Absolutely. I mean, the winner, yes, it's a very tough beat for the winner was absolutely
Much the best. No
and
question.
I bet you these pick 5s are not giant. I mean, the parlay is around 35, just $350, $500. It's around $1,500 right now. Rosa Veloce, if you looked at the multi-race bets and the way that race was bet, was a much shorter price in every pool but the win pool.
There's your winning trainer. The short to the current favorite anyway, which is probably not going to be your favorite at post time. But
the 7's going to be favored. Right?
Quick flash, 3,900.
What is it, the 7?
Cousteau, yeah, who will be the favorite.
What is it?
2,421 in the pick 5.
That's still pretty good because the parlay is around $400 for 50 cents. So that's still pretty good.
Well, Cousteau, we talked earlier in the program. Kendrick Carmouche had a lot of live mounts left. We're down to the finale. This would give him number 4 on the afternoon, and this one taking a big drop in here. Mike Maker barn, and had a big number at Churchill when he broke his maiden. We will be back. Going to take a look again at the action on the Triple Crown Trail from here in New York and Florida when we return.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires, ranked #1 by percentage of stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and Grade 1 winners. No stallion has a better strike rate. Recent top runners include Group 1 winner Homesman, graded stakes winners Master of Foxhounds, Ancient Rome, and Bombard. Plus Annapolis, who became his sire's 100th stakes winner. In the auction ring, his progeny continued to command top dollar. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS1. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you where you can play all the action at Naira Bets. Download the app or go to nairabets.com. Big day on the Triple Crown Trail here in New York and in Florida yesterday. And what a performance we saw from early voting. Lightly raced, had just one start under his belt, winning at a mile in his debut. Took another move forward, start number 2.
Now, he's an impressive horse. He obviously has an enormous amount of talent. You talked about Gunrunner, one of his 2 stake winners this weekend. That was an extraordinarily fast pace. To go 23:57 on the racetrack we were talking about, mostly around a turn. So it's not surprising he tired. And this is a race where the Beyer speed figure was just 78. Timeform US, though, a pace-based number. I believe it's a much, much faster race, a number that would sort of get her into the mid to high 80s easily. And I think with that pace in the second-time starter, while, listen, you can't say he's in the top 5 for the Derby now, but I think there were mitigating circumstances to say it was a much better performance than 78 would suggest. And if he can step forward his next start, he could be a very legitimate Derby contender.
And, you know, people, some say he drifted out a little bit in the stretch. You saw Jose Ortiz going to that left-handed riding crop. He wanted to get him off the inside, so he felt that way. He was just responding to that. And still, he's very inexperienced in lightly raced, according to his trainer, and he feels he's going to work this out.
No question. I mean, you can see it if you watch the head-on. He does drift over the rail. A lot of horses will naturally do that. He didn't sharply drift in, and Jose understood very clearly. Until today, you couldn't be near the rail the last 3 days. And so he's very strongly getting him off the rail, and that was the situation. And he still maintained that margin. Now, he's going to meet tougher horses. The race down in Florida got a much higher speed figure. Those are some quality horses. This is just his second career start, winning at 9 furlongs, setting a fast pace, maintaining that. It's very impressive. And, you know, the other thing is, the Connections had a very good horse named Cloud Computing who could have run the Kentucky Derby 5 years ago. And they decided it wasn't the judicious thing to do, and they waived the Preakness, and it paid off with him. If early voting isn't ready for the Derby, or he doesn't suggest to Chad Brown and Seth Klarman at Harvard Stables, they can wait, whether it's the Preakness or even races like the Jim Dandy and Travers at Saratoga. This is a good horse. They'll give him his best chance to show how good he can be.
Horse who'd been showing them, too, in the morning that he was taking those next steps, and he responded in the afternoon. Seems like, from listening to the Connections, Wood Memorial is going to be next on the table for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to suggest that Chad Brown's going to run him in the Gotham and Wood, 4 races in a short period of time, getting ready, you know. And I did speak to Seth Klarman yesterday about it, and he leaves everything in Chad Brown's hands. Chad's the boss. He hasn't had the success he's had as an owner because he's been a brilliantly, sort of bringing his horses through. He believes in Chad Brown and lets him do what he does best. So it's up to him. And if he shows he can make the Derby, they'll make the Derby. If he doesn't, they'll wait. There's no reason to push him somewhere he doesn't belong.
Meanwhile, down in South Florida, maybe the most competitive Derby prep we've had to this point. Mo Donegal showing up for Todd Pletcher, among other names. Tis the Bomb, I know who many believes still a turf horse at this point. Probably after this race, many believe that too. But White Abarrio, this was a horse who would come into this race having missed a couple of workouts. Safi Joseph was hesitant about how fit he was going to be. He still comes up in his 3-year-old debut and produces this performance.
Greg, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he was fit. This was a very strong performance. Now listen, the second place finish, I think people are getting a little bit overboard saying he should have won the race because he blew the brake. I don't think he was making up the 5 lengths. He lost by 4.5 lengths, but he did run very well. Mo Donegal continues to be immature. He kind of took himself a little out of the race around going to the far turn, but there's no denying a 97 buyer. A very, very strong number. I want to say the best number maybe we've seen from this crop, except for Jack Christopher's Champagne.
I believe you're right. And his rider, Tyler Gaffleone, said after the race, if you think distance is going to be a question, it seemingly will not be. He had to call for the outrider to pull this horse up because he was so aggressive. He was having difficulty doing it.
Yeah, he may ultimately not be good enough to win the Derby, but it doesn't appear that it's going to be the 10 furlongs that does him in. He seems to have a lot of talent, and, you have to say, he is the first horse to really take a step forward, especially a horse that we know at this point is eligible to run the Kentucky Derby.
Distant third to a horse named Smile Happy when he met him at the end of his 2-year-old campaign. How good does that horse look now?
Well, he does look good. The son of Run Happy, it was impressive winning the Kentucky Jockey Club. We saw him at Churchill Downs, and he's being pointed the Risen Star. Zandon, who probably should have been placed first in his second start, going from 6th furlong to 9th furlong to Remsen. He's heading the Risen Star. That's going to be a very, very big matchup down at Fairgrounds.
These preps so fun to watch. There's another prep coming up later today out on the West Coast, the Robert B. Lewis. Bob Baffert will send out a couple of horses, including Messier, 6-5 morning line favorite from the inside. Sir London, big maiden win for Simon Callahan last time out. This will be his 3-year-old debut coming up. Let's get Jonathan's thoughts.
And look, if you're familiar with the Kentucky Derby and you're familiar with the Derby preps from the West Coast, we all know that the guy with the silver hair, Bob Baffert, wins a lot of these races. And he's got a pretty heavy hand here with Messier and Wharton as well. I felt like Sir London does make some sense in here for a number of reasons. One, he's got some experience, and he's got some nice speed figures to kind of back up that experience. The one thing I will say is historically at Los Alamitos, you do not want to be down on the inside. In fact, sometimes when I play Los Al, there's a horse drawn to the rail. It's an auto toss for me. You do not want to be down there. Sir London spent a lot of time down on the inside. He took pressure from the outside. And for me, I like to play horses that run well despite the fact that they were stuck down there. I think Sir London is an absolute horse that can beat these 2 Bob Baffert runners. So if you're looking for something outside of what's likely to be the favorite Messier, I think the 2 Sir London does make a ton of sense.
All right, it's going to be fun to watch. That is the 8th later today out on the West Coast at Santa Anita. We still have the nightcap coming up here at Aqueduct. Reminder, you can get up to a $10 bonus today when you bet on select races with Naira Bets. For every selected stakes race that you bet $50, you will get $5 whether you win or lose. Today's races, Las Virgenes, and that aforementioned Robert B. Lewis Stakes from Santa Anita. Go to NairaBets.com for promotion details. Don't forget you have to opt in to take advantage of that promo. Going to close out this card in New York with a claiming race. Non-winners of 2 lifetime 7/8 of mile, and that is the favorite, and that's the one Kendrick Carmouche will look for his 4th winner on this afternoon.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Run Happy, the #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on America's Day at the Races. We're back here for the nightcap at Aqueduct on 2 for 40, going the 7 furlongs. And we'll start with the current favorite. That's #7 in here, Cousteau, who's going second off the claim for trainer Mike Maker and off a bit of a layoff after he was the well-beaten favorite. But I do think he has a valuable excuse, as that last race at Churchill on November 26th ran under the lights with a blistering pace up front, in which he was involved in. Also, and to add insult to injury, checked at the quarter pole. So just really a race that did not go well in his favor. Weird thing, this horse has run 5 times, now 6, and will likely be the favorite in all 6 of those times. He was favored against Jackie's Warrior way back when in June of 2020. Good looking sort. True sprinting type of physicality, smaller, compact, big cresty neck on him, though. I like what I'm seeing from him. He looks best here in this spot, to be completely honest. And 2, I mean, just as I was saying, a drop in class here with the 2nd place finisher coming back and running an 83, the 4th place finisher out of that star allowance, One Fast Cat, running a 91 in a subsequent win. So he just makes a lot of sense, and you always want to see what they look like here in the paddock, and he ticks every box for me coming back off that bit of a layoff. Moving on to his inside with #6, Rocco Strong. He'll run with the hood again, and this is a horse that, at least when he came back from the January to August layoff, he'd kind of changed a little bit in his demeanor. He started getting really, really revved up for his efforts, and so they added the hood, and the hood obviously acts as an earmuff over his ears, and just kind of blocks out any noise, and it does have the calming effect on a lot of horses, and it's done so. Rocco Strong, comes out of a race in which I think he ran well. We'll cut back to the 7 furlongs. That makes sense. He looks as though he's doing very well for Carlos Martin. As we'll also take a look at #3, Quick Flash. He turns back a furlong and adds a set of blinkers here, second off the claim for Tony Dutrow. A set of bigger cheater cups. So, closing him in a bit, and a horse that they were aggressive with when stretching out to the mile in that allowance race. And, the only other time he was offered for a tag, 2 back, I think it was a tougher non-2 for 40. So I like what I'm seeing from Quick Flash. We'll see how aggressive Trevor McCarthy is with the addition of the blinkers. He is fairly quiet here in the paddock, but I just thought that equipment addition, or I should say blinkers going back on and getting back to the 7 furlongs, it fits him quite nicely, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. We're going to get to the post parade coming up. Cousteau, back to the 7 for a minute. Prices, it's starting to come down. He was 7-2 a moment ago. He's not only going to be the favorite, he's probably going to be a heavy favorite here based on the doubles and pick threes.
Right. I mean, on the paper, he should be. He's a horse on paper who's kind of a lock to win. His maiden win will blow this field out of the water. It's just too fast, I think, for these horses. And he's supposed to be able to clear the number 3, who never wins anyway. But I imagine that Trevor McCarthy will be aggressive with Quick Flash. It's really his last race, Cousteau, that I think makes him look bad. He was favored against a field of a lot of horses beat these, and it was a supersonic pace that just fell apart. So it's not as bad as it looks. I think the concern you have to say is, where's he been now for 2.5 months, and why is he dropping a little bit from where he was claimed for? I guess Mike Maker's saying, let's get the getting while it's good. He's the worst to beat on paper, but they don't run him on paper, Greg. They run him, as you like to say, on TV screens.
Exactly.
But he's the best horse if he gets the right trip. I don't know if he's going to clear the 3, though, and Quick Flash, Trevor's going to be going.
He is.
This horse is faster if he really wants to roll.
Question. Exactly. And a rider who knows how to take advantage of that, too. Here's the one. We'll start off with Oliver's Fortune, our post-parade. Eric Cancel comes off a win against maiden claiming State Break Company.
Obviously, it was an inferior field, but this horse beat the bias. He was dueling outside. The horse he dueled with was eased. He actually ran remarkably well last time. I just don't know if he's good enough.
Divinicris at 9-1.
He is dramatically dressed up off an enormous bias in his last start.
5-2 next door. Quick Flash, Trevor McCarthy, blinkers on.
Maybe one less furlong will help him. Maybe the track will help him. But at 1 for 18 with 6 seconds, I've seen enough.
Jake Rocks, David Donk, Manny Franco, the 5.
He has races that can win here. He's 1 for 27. He doesn't get it done. And layoff or not last time, his last performance was pathetic. I mean, he was on a good rail. He did no running.
Rocco Strong. Meanwhile, we saw Carlos Martin talking with Dylan Davis earlier in the paddock.
Carlos looking to win the opener and the last race with a horse who I think is the biggest threat to the favorite in here. His last race, he was against the track. He's run some good races. He's okay.
And there's that patented warm-up from Kendrick Carmouche on Cousteau. Now is the favorite.
Right. You can never say Kendrick's giving him a strong warm-up because he always gives him a strong warm-up. If he clears, it's over.
And 14-1 outside Prayer Book, Amira Shishakli.
I mean, Greg, I don't know where it came from, but would you argue that if he somehow ran back to his race 2 back, he has a chance at here? I don't know where it came from, but his race 2 back wasn't bad.
No question. 77 buyer. Jonathan, you're going to choose to go deep sea diving here.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to go with Cousteau. Hey, didn't think I was going to know what that was. I saw him smiling through my brain. This horse, can Maker move this horse up? Maybe. Can the horse win? Sure, I guess. I thought the 5, Jake Rocks, is the horse that I liked in here. I actually feel like this horse had an excuse last time, coming in off of a layoff. I do think that he could run better. Now, he's going to have to be aggressively put into the race to somehow try to save some ground in this spot. I don't think he's going to win this race traveling 3 wide all the way around there, but I do think there's an opportunity, and I also think the drop's going to help quite a bit. You know, starter allowance company is significantly tougher than non-winners at 2 for 40. So I'm just hoping that the drop helps, possibly the change in hands with the rider change, and hoping that Manny will be a little bit more aggressive with Jake Rocks. And basically that was a play. I just couldn't get into the other horses. I understand that the rail seems to be the place you want to be, but I don't really want the 1 Oliver's Fortune. I didn't think any of the 3 inside horses really kind of got me going, so I ended up kind of landing on the 5 Jake Rocks, mostly being against the big favorite with the 7 Cousteau. Maggie?
Thank you. JK, I don't want to burst your bubble, and I totally get why Jake Rocks is a logical contender on paper. My problem is he looked really, really good over the summer, and he was running very competitive races then. Still not winning, but against tougher horses to boot. And then he comes back off that little bit of a layoff that we saw from October to January here, and he just did not look the same whatsoever. He didn't look that fit either last time. He has gained some fitness out of that last race, but still not anywhere near as good from the overall perspective of what he did during the summer. Yes, that's to be expected, training here in the cold temperatures, but I just relative to the other horses that are short prices in here, they just at least physically look much better than Jake Rocks, Greg.
He's 3-1 on the board, second choice, and
Jake Rocks can win.
Thumbs down for Maggie.
On Jake Rocks? Yeah, I just can't like him off his last. And I've been Jake Rox's biggest fan. I've always loved this horse, but I just am afraid his form's falling apart. Greg, you're seeing those planes. Another one that flew over close.
Getting dangerously close to us here.
I missed the Concorde.
There's Jake Rox, who used to fly over here
Every
regularly,
day,
right?
same time. I think it was 2:30 every day you saw it. Yep.
Kendrick Carmouche on the 7, looking for a 4-win afternoon on the horse who should be the fastest in here. There he is. And if he can clear, this could be over early. Nightcap from New York. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial, the call.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Rocco Strong and Cousteau, and Jake Rox now moves up. Jake Rox and Cousteau are heads apart for the lead. Divinicus is down at the rail, and on the outside is Rocco Strong, now back running in 4th. Oliver's Fortune is at the rail alongside the gray. Quick Flash, and the trailer is Prayer Book in 7th. Jake Rox by a length. Cousteau is second by a head with Divinicus down at the rail in 3rd. Steadying there just a bit was Oliver's Fortune in between horses. The quarter went in 22 and 4/5 seconds. It is Jake Rox on top, 3/4 of a length. Cousteau's on the outside in 2nd. Rocco Strong is now on the move on the outside and up to 3rd. Divinicus at the rail. Then Oliver's Fortune, followed by Quick Flash and Prayer Book at the back. Jake Rox has the lead here, ran the half in 46 seconds. Cousteau is in 2nd. Rocco Strong on the extreme outside as they hit the quarter pole. It is still Jake Rox with the lead. Rocco Strong on the outside moves to 2nd. Cousteau is now back in 3rd. Then a Quick Flash at Oliver's Fortune. Here comes Rocco Strong right alongside of Jake Rox. And Rocco Strong is the stronger of the two. And Rocco Strong is on to victory. It's a double for Dylan. Dylan Davis gets his 2nd win today. Does it here on Rocco Strong. Jake Rox completes the exacta.
Rocco Strong, you heard 2 today for Dylan Davis. Teams up with Carlos Martin.
And Carlos has bookends. First race and last race. And this is a horse that made a ton of sense. The 7 didn't really run his race chasing the outside. It doesn't matter what happens with Jake Rox, even when everything goes his own way, he just can't do any better than finishing 2nd. But at least he ran today, unlike his other races. And Rocco Strong's been in good form. His last race, he was against the track. He ran fine to be 2nd. A perfectly logical alternative. And Greg, I missed leg 2. I had the other 4.
Ouch.
That's never happened to a horse player to have 4 or 5. I don't know. That's maybe the first time this has ever happened.
Story of our lives. Cousteau, a horse who needed to be in front and just was unable to get there early.
Yeah, but whatever. He was bad. Because it's not like the pace held together. He was bad.
6-5, 7-3. And look, obviously we had a big weekend here with the Triple Crown prep here in the Withers. Early voting looks so impressive. This Ruthless performance, though, from Shotgun Hottie, overcoming being wide on a racetrack that we've seen today inside the place to be, this was impressive.
It was. I mean, it's not going to come a very fast race.
No.
But it is one of those races that's a lot better than the figure suggested. So she might be a horse that she could move up a little bit and have a much better chance against tougher company.
Meanwhile, how excited are you for early voting to see him in his next start?
I'm extremely excited. I'm happy about it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again Friday, and all of you.
Yeah, we're back Friday, 3 Eastern start time. That'll be on FS2. Up next on FS1, PBA Bowling US Open. Up next on FS2, Westminster Kennel Club Highlight Show. Shotgun Hottie, Trevor McCarthy, Bill Morey, overcoming that outside post, picking up the 2nd win of her career, and what a weekend it was in New York for Gunrunner. Sweeping the weekend stakes with early voting in the Withers on Saturday as well. We'll see you Friday at 3 Eastern on FS2.